know if anybody's there. I can't even see if I'm on here yet. Wait a minute. They're there. How you all doing? You's alright? Can you hear me? Nice one. P900 Cool Pics. How you's all doing? How you all doing? I wrote that a few years ago, that wee tune. A good few years ago. I seen a band, funny, Ginger Pisces or something it's called. I thought to myself, they fucking ripped off my wee tune. Go and listen to it. I wonder where they got that from. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they just came up with it after rain back. Who knows? So, enough of that. How's it all going? How you doing? I'm going to do more kind of guitar-y stuffs on that other channel of mine's, that True Expressions. I'll probably offer up, you know, wee methods of learning for people. All I can offer is that the method that I used to learn, which was pretty much, you know, wee bits and bobs of different pieces, you know, varying techniques and whatever. I don't have the language, but if any of you out there want to learn guitar or whatever, then check out the other channel, True Expressions. I'll link it sometime through this, and I'll be doing that kind of through the week and stuff. Just we can have a wee chit chat, you know, people can come on there and have a wee discussion about whatever away from this, if you like. So what we're discussing this evening, well, first and foremost, obviously I'm just going to give a wee rundown for anybody that may come across this. You've never seen it before. You know, you've seen the title, Flat Level Earth. You know, Flat Earth is a loaded term. It's a term that's surrounded by propaganda, and it's done so deliberately, so that in your mind you've got the idea of ridicule and how preposterous it must be to ever question the validity of the idiotic, nature-defying globular Earth concept. That was done through generations, repeatedly, and through media and education, where you had a false depiction and understanding of what flat earth means. It's a loaded term. I've expressed from the very beginning why I used that in the titles, obviously because it was a trending thing and it would maybe grab people's attention, so that then, you know, people have got the opportunity to see that there is real people out there, real skeptical people with a sane, rational, sound mind, who are questioning the validity of the mainstream narratives that are running, in particular the narrative of the Earth being a globe, created by a big bang and spiralling through an infinite void of nothingness to nowhere. So, that claim is utterly preposterous. It is only a mathematical concept. It has no backing of practicality whatsoever. The practical world, any practical reference that I, as a human being, can offer you, displays and dictates the geometry of the earth that we stand upon as being level. Okay, now I'm taking that from the water. The topography of the land is high and low, but it's all gauged from the level water. Okay. Now, I can extrapolate on it more for you. If you're ever interested in it, by all means, you can email me or have a private discussion or whatever you like. I'm not going to go through the whole shebang every time that I go live. I just want to give you a wee quick general overview of who I am and what else. There's no claims made here about what the full dimensions of the Earth actually are. It's an ongoing investigation that requires honest skepticism, intellectual honesty, and human beings to accept the standard of practical demonstration. Any claim being made to you about something being part of or a function of your objective reality must be demonstrable. It must be practical, just like anything else. If I tell you I can lick the back of my ear with my tongue, you're going to want to see some sort of demonstration. And I don't mean through the TV. That's the problem the majority of people have. They are listening to sophisticated linguistics, nonsensical abstract mathematics, backed by an image on a TV screen, and people are bamboozled by it. Right? So, there's a number of reasons for why that would be put into, play, this whole notion of a globular Earth. You could go the avenue and say, well, people were just mistaken. People are, in this day and age, still mistaken. The majority of the populace coming through the education systems are mistaken. They misunderstand. They have not looked at the base axioms, the fundamental assumptions of what they've been taught, and tried to verify them before they start wandering off into abstract theories and fantastical ideas about our existence and the mechanics of the universe and all this stuff. Right? I'm going to get into all this universe and grasping at certainty and where it all comes from and why I think it's preposterous and why I think every religious idea is preposterous and why it's all based on insecurity, fear, anxiety. Right? And then I'm going to offer up what I think the actual truth is. So it may be scary for some people. It may not be. So I can only deal with that when it comes to it. So if you're delicate and, words coming out of somebody's mouth can have a vivid effect in your imagination and maybe sway you in one way or another, then I don't really want to upset you. You shouldn't be listening to me. Go and listen to Fluffingtons. Right? Because I'm not here to fuck about. Tired of this bullshit, this existence and the confusion and bewilderment that people are running about in. Insecure and in fear, desperately clutching for certainty. So, anywho. So, let me just gather myself to see where I'm going to come in at this stuff. Why no like, share and subscribe? What's going on? Are you away watching debates? Is that what you're up to? Why are you wasting your time? I'll show soon, a search on YouTube for my channel and we'll see what else comes up. They're really upping the ante with this whole debate aspect and making this about entertainment and, perpetuating it as a debate between two sides perpetually on and on and on and on. There's a number of channels now who are partaking in this, and they're even challenging for viewership on prime time Saturday night slots. Now they think they've got enough sway. They think they can make a dent, make an impact, and try and sway the attention away from grassroots realness to nonsensical, idiotic crap. Debating endlessly about utter nonsense. Over the last few months, I've pointed out a few things. In particular, I've pointed out the thing about motion and the word gravity being utilised as some sort of force that produces motion upon objects. Now, I have, shown beyond any shadow of a doubt that there is no such a thing as an absurdity, a preposterous fantasy imagination of pull. All motion is created by pressure, some other force pressing on something else in order to achieve motion. That's how reality works. Unbreakable. Now go to all these debate channels, all these clowns, and watch and listen while they let gravity be invoked over and over again. They pay attention, they hear, they know what's getting said. But why are they not jumping on it? Do you know why? Because they don't want to kill it. They don't want to kill this globe earth. All these people that are professing they're flat earthers and skeptics questioning the scientific fucking narratives are bullshitters. They're gatekeepers. They're there to keep you in perpetual fucking endless turmoil, going round and round in circles. The problem is the majority of people are all still caught up in the idea and the concept of their everyday life. So they just like to sit and get a wee bit of entertainment. Ha ha ha. Oh, such and such scored a point. Yay. We win the world. Oh no, the other one scored a point. Oh, fuck it. At the same time, these dipshits are misrepresenting real people like me, telling barefaced lies. You've got to ask the questions why that is. All these fuckers are networking and helping each other to build a network, to constantly pull the attention of people into endless drivel. Not to empower you, not to cut right to the fucking bone and lay out what's objectively true. No. They need merchandise. They need you to keep coming every day and every second day and every night and every other second night. Because then they've got the opportunity to go buy my t-shirt, buy my mug, like, share and subscribe. Get me more gullible fucktards so that I can keep them in perpetual nonsense while I try and milk it for whatever I can. So they're all telling lies about me, saying I claim the earth's moving upwards and all this stuff. Can anybody go and show me where I claim that? Again, I offered these people an arrow for the bullshit globe and showed how it's much more applicable and much more in tune with reality to arrive at that point than it is for the nonsensical drivel of pulling. But all they can do is attack me. They don't like it. Why would they not be going, where's their intellectual honesty? Where is their scepticism? Where is their seeking of truth? Well, they go, well, fuck, that's right. That's a fact. I can't break that fact. Do you know what? I'm not going to represent that. Because that's what all this is about. It's about you, every one of you individuals, acting as the skeptic, as the scientist, as the representer of objective fact, real world, demonstrable fact. But yeah, all these clowns, all these charlatans selling you products, they're not interested. They don't want to put it to bed. Because that's not entertaining. It's like any other industry. They can't make things, to the way they should be. They need to perpetuate their industry. They need to keep you coming back for more and more and more. Hey ho, it's up to you lot, If you want to keep giving these fucking idiots your attention, don't come here, because I ain't fucking interested in you. You've got nothing to offer me or anybody else. You're part of the problem. So anywho, how yous all doing? Go and get more people here. Hurry up. I needs bigger audiences. I'm going to lose the ratings war if you don't fucking take your part. Yeah? Anyway. Oakley and his reprobate friends, that's right. All these fucking cocksniffers. Telling lies, bullshitting, taking information and what other people have done and trying to sit there barefaced as if they've achieved things, have done fuck all. Perpetuated debates over and over and over again. But that's the idiocy of people. People get a wee thrill, oh yeah, I've got somebody representing my side and look, they're scoring points. There isn't a side. There only is one reality. It's not up for debate. It's not going to be won or lost by fucking morons arguing with each other endlessly on YouTubes or anywhere for that matter. What has to be established as principles, first principles? What do we accept as, the bar of acceptance for things being real world facts? Oh, that's right, practical demonstrations. I don't need your language. I can speak to a fucking Chinaman. A Chinaman to me is just making noises. And I'm just making noises to him. But if I want to show him something about the real world, a real world fact, I can just show him it. And I'm sure he'll get it. He doesn't need my fucking shite getting spewed endlessly out of my mouth in order to grasp it, does he? This is, again, perpetuating this pseudo-intellectual bullshit. Oh, look how many words I can recite. Look how many books and papers I can recite and reference. And such 200 years ago, Platonic fucking dick dribble said so-and-so. What? Excuse me, I'm a human being that lives right fucking now. I don't give a fuck about Platonic dick sniffer that lived 4,000 years ago. Couldn't care less. Could not give a rat's arse. All I'm interested in is, what fucking claim are you making, cunty flaps? No, you better have a demonstration for me. Or I'm going to look at you as some sort of charlatan. So that's the very core of this whole thing. This is what science and endeavouring to understand the reality is really about. No try to sound windswept and interesting, how much you can recite and how many big words you've got in your vocabulary. Means fuck all. That's intellectual snobbery, arrogance, ego, narcissism. Which is what you've got as a system. Yes, we know what the universe is, and we're going to tell you what it is. Talk about fucking narcissistic, jeez oh. So, I get a wee bit annoyed at all this rubbish. Right? You need to start seeing through all these creeps. We're not interested in reality and establishing and breaking the system and breaking us out of this fucking hovel that we're in. They don't care about any of that. They may project and subtly hint that that's what they're about, while at the same time all they're interested in is being a someone. I want to be somebody. I want to be famous, man. I want to be rich and have power over other people because I'm a needy, insecure cockroach. That's the reality. Anywho, I'll come back to that. It's all kind of relevant to what I'm going to be speaking about in these titles, things here. So how yous all doing? Love, Truth, Love, Life, Slam Free Poetry, Mr. Teddy Bear, Jason Tomlinson. Boris Chops, West Coast Wisdom, Neil W. Andrew Calvert, Gideon Sick, West Coast Wisdom, Elisa Hawk, Nicholas, Phil Jones. Nah, I wouldn't say it's money, mate. It's not just money. Money's not, it's just, it's an inanimate thing. We'll get to that. We'll get to what I think's going on. Right? Tracy Storia, Chris Hayes, Tony T. I am because we are one love. Beyond belief. Yeah, that's right, beyond belief. I wonder what they're all worried about. I don't know why the dam in Derbyshire doesn't just mound up and tappy itself. Bloody Strickland Water, Steve HV, One Conscience. I'm well, thank you. Boom Me, how you doing? P900 Cool Picks, how you doing? It's coming on. It always produces well, that wee tree. Squirrel Sniper, Luke Marshall, Mr. Cheswick, how's it going? Miss Best Vids Ever. All good in the nude there. How you doing? Tony Dixon, Mr. Golden V. World Without Curve, Jason Tomlinson, Celtic 67. Fuck. The thing keeps jumping. Bob Roberts, Bob Fawcett, JT the Game, Party Pack, The Eye, Scott Richardson, Michael O'Rourke, Brent Humphreys, Stuart Lundy, how you doing? Slam Poetry, Riddle Me That, Evan Kim, Alien Zoo, FPV Angel, how you doing? Harry Hepworth, Luke Marshall, Uppercut, Selling Alien, KS Beats, Purple Hippo. Right, so let's get into this a wee bit here. So where am I going to start? Well, meaning and meaninglessness. I had this realisation, and I've stated it a number of times on here, you know, I've had the realisation privately of meaning, and again, people looking for meaning, as I see it, as part of the symptom, right? So, meaning, what do we mean by meaning? What is it people are looking for in life, and why are they looking for it? Everybody's running about grasping at straws of certainty, in desperate need of it, whether it be, you know, a scientific narrative of the universe and their place within it, or people looking for certainty in a relationship, you know, with a family, you know, like a wife, a partner, or, you know, placing meaning in, oh, my kids and my identity of who I am and this, that and the other. Where is all that stemming from? Because here's the problem that I see. Again, this is all going to tie in to these philosophical and scientific narratives of our existence in the universe and all that shite. Right? Because what they're desperately trying to achieve is to give a geometry, give certainty, or grasp and pin down the infinite, the eternal. Now, I brought this up a number of times. For me, there's no way to escape that that's what we are a part of. And I'll give you a few different examples, right? Okay, you're alive right now. You see yourself as birth and death. So in your experience of this area, there's what you would call finite. There's beginning and there's end. But that all happens within a bigger environment, which you call the world and reality. Right? Now this world and this reality may have finite ends to it, but it has to be somewhere. It has to be encompassed by something. There's nowhere you're going to get to in any avenue that you pursue where you end up at nothing. And you see this through, you know, religious, scientific narratives of big bangs, singularities and all that shite, that every single one of them are avoiding the infinite, the eternal. It doesn't matter what avenue you go down, you're going to end up back at that. And if you're trying to avoid it, you're always going to keep coming up with these fantastical stories. Oh, it was a big bang at this point in time, and then before that we don't know. And now they've got this big bang, and then it goes back in, and then there's another one, and it's like a never-ending string of fucking sausages. Or a multiverse, or a string, or whatever. Now you've got to have the realisation, right, that we can go any avenue you like. You can't get to finite, because finite denotes a nothingness. Now nothingness, all this doesn't come from nothing, no thing. No thing is no something that exists. It's impossible. So what are you dealing with? The fundamental reality, the prime mover, the thing that gives rise to everything is the infinite, is the eternal. Whether you're calling it energy, God, whatever you fucking like. There's so many names that people and labels that people try and attach to it. They need to get labels and attach things to it because they're desperately trying to confine it. You can't confine it because if you could, it wouldn't be infinite. It would be finite. So, if you then realise that you're a part of that, right? So it's infinite and it's eternal, which means every potentiality, every possibility, every scenario, everything conceivable exists all at the same time. Now let's come back to little old us. Oh, it's got meaning. I'm here. I'm supposed to be here because I'm going to learn. And I'm going to learn something. I'm supposed to learn something. Oh, no, I've not to learn something. I have to worship this overseer thing. So, you have to learn something. You're here to please the overseer. Blah, blah, blah. So, how are you then going to add or take anything away from the infinite eternal? What is it you think you're going to achieve here? Because I tell you what, if you think this experience, you can learn something, you can add or take something away for the infinite and eternal, it's no fucking infinite and eternal then, is it? It's finite, because you can bloody well add something to it. By having your experience, I learned something. I'm now adding to the infinite. What? Maybe fucking scary for you. But I don't give a fuck. Because I'm tired of all the fucking pomposity and all these people running about weak and insecure, projecting all sorts of fucking psychotic episodes all over the place. Just because they're scared of no having certainty. How are you ever going to have certainty in infinite, eternal? How can you have certainty there? Because there you go, grasping at it again. Oh, certainty, I can refine it and pinpoint it. No, you can't. You can't put a geometry in it. You can't squeeze it into a fucking box, or a circle, or a triangle, or anything. Say you could. Oh, I can. I could squeeze it in it. Well, where does your box exist? Where does your circle exist? Back to square one again. If something exists, it exists somewhere. Where's the somewhere? Infinite regress. Back to infinity. Back to eternal. No way to escape it. So what's happening here? The more and more that people are desperately clutching and rushing to try and hold on to some sort of certainty, whether it be their self-identification, their identification in regards to their family or their society structure, their stature within it, their religious beliefs, their spiritual beliefs, their whatever. It's desperation. It's a sign of severe insecurity and weakness. And the more you try and grasp at it and make it certain, the more you're turning it into a shit show. This is why all these narratives are all the same. They're disempowering and they're idiotic. I don't care if it's some sort of religious thing you're pursuing, Christianity, Buddhism, whatever the fuck it is, right? Or do you think, no, I'm too clever for that, I'm good scientifical roots, 14.5 billion years ago singularities and stuffs. It's just all one and the same. All one and the same. Desperately insecure, desperately scared of the fact that you might not have certainty. You can't have certainty because it's infinite and it's eternal. You ain't boxing it. You ain't controlling it. You're not putting it in a corner or in your pocket or in a safe so that you can feel safe and secure with it. Is this why people run to these other narratives? Because what I'm saying, it doesn't offer you certainty. And that's maybe scary for people. Because the condition that people are in is anxiety, fear, stress, insecurity, blah, 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 blah. And in those states, that's when people desperately try and control and cling to whatever they can in order to make themselves feel secure. Whether it's temporary or they can withstand it or sustain it for a prolonged period of time, it doesn't matter. It's all part of the same psychotic episode. So is it scarier to contemplate and come to the realisation that that's what you're part of? Now, when I say that, I come to that realisation. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the whole thing that I'm part of is. How could I ever? How could anybody ever? Because if I could, it would be finite again. We're back to square fucking one. Alright, well, if it's finite at a beginning point and an end point, therefore, beginning and end point denotes it must be in some space or some area. So what's that then? Back to square one again. I can know and understand things about myself. I can understand things about effects and experiences that I'm having. But to try and take that and extrapolate it out to transcend that it all means something and that whatever you get up to in here somehow adds or takes away. Oh no, I've no done this and I've no done that, so therefore God's going to judge me and he's going to send me to hell or he's going to welcome me into the gates of heaven. No, your God or whatever, all the potentiality was all there. Every possible scenario, every being, always. Every single one is. But yet you somehow think that you're going to affect that. All you can do is understand yourself. Which is why I keep coming back to experience. I'm just an observer. All the stimulus and all the things that have ever happened in my life, everything that's coming in through the sensory organs and the blah, that's not me. That's part of this machine. I'm just an observer in there. And this observer has a will. And I can put my attention to whatever I like. Now, if I misplace my attention, I'm going to delude myself. I'm going to start getting caught into some of these ideas and start identifying with it. And then forgetting, and then that becomes part of the machine and starts running the fucking show. All I can do is watch and observe, place my attention where I want it to go. Now, the majority of people are rattled. Right? There's a trauma, there's anxiety. That drives a certain emotion which pushes the psyche, the observer, to start wandering into certain avenues. Because of the confusion and the trauma, there's an emotional response that then drives you to start pursuing certain avenues and start trying to grasp at things, making them certain. I get it. I get why people would opt for some delusion that makes them feel good, because it's an illusion of a certainty. It's intellectual laziness. They don't want to contemplate the reality of their existence. They just want somebody else to tell them it's going to be alright, give them certainty, and place them in fluffy warmth forever and ever. That prime mover, that eternal, that infinite, What it is, how it functions, I do not have a rat's clue. I don't know. And I'm not going to drive myself insane trying to pin it down, because it's impossible. What am I then left with? Well, I'm just an experiencer. Maybe I'm just wandering through all the scenarios at any point, any given time, and this just happens to be one of these within that infinite sea of potentiality. And what we're witnessing through trauma and ideas and concepts and influence is people grasping and clutching for certainty. And that's what's going on. They're identifying ideas and concepts that they want to be true for whatever reason, and then pursuing them, making them manifest, because that's where they're placing their attention. So my question is it scarier? Because I tell you what, the notion and idea of certainty, like some of these religious and spiritual teachings, are far more terrifying and frightening to me than being part of the infinite, eternal. Doesn't have certainty. It can't be boxed. Can't be reasoned with. And I'm just going to wander eternally. That's not as scary as, no, you're here for a specific reason and you're going to learn. Alright, well, who's the boss then? So now I'm subservient to some fucking thing, eh? What's it up to? Because, excuse me, as far as I'm aware, you're telling me that this dude is eternal, infinite, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, but somehow little old me is going to change some aspect of that. I'm going to add something to it. Because I never had 5 wanks on a Tuesday. And I wanked 7 times on a Sunday. So therefore, I've now got demerits. So now I'm taking aspects of it. Do you see where I'm coming from? I hope you understand. You're not going to break it. You're not going to ever arrive at a point of finite. I'm talking about the encompassing, the thing that we're all part of. It's no finite. I'm not talking about the reality machine. I'm talking about the fundamental, the prime mover. When you're in a dream state and you're jumping from scenario to scenario and experience to experience, are you contemplating and going, oh no, I better analyse this and watch my behaviour? And oh, by the way, I wonder when my kids are and my partner and my dog, and oh, I'm going to need to wash the motorbike. You're not doing any of that. You're just wandering from experience to experience without a fucking care in the world. What if that's what it's like? Again, this is the other huge part of this. I need certainty. Because you're finite, you're going to die. Oh, you're going to die. And? So? I mean, you're going to die and then there's going to be nothing. Is that right? Can you show me nothing? Can you show me nothing? Does it even exist? Is there such a thing as no thing? No thing does not compute with me. And even if it was no thing, what are you worried about? It's that fear. This again is the whole heliocentric Big Bang cosmologies, God and all these narratives. They're creating a psychological mind state within you of fear, uncertainty. That drives you to pursue avenues of certainty. Oh, life's chaotic and mental and madness. There must be meaning and justice and all that stuff. Where are you getting that? If somebody's going to keep invoking to me that there's a meaning, like, depends what you mean by meaning. The problem I have by people saying meaning is that you're supposed to behave a certain way while you're here, other than just being totally honest and expressing your true essence. No, you have to suppress that. Suppress your true essence, fuck that. Project some other bullshit. Conform. Behave to the confines that we set out for you, and when you get to the end of it, you will be rewarded. Fuck that. I've said it so many times before. I can sit there with a psychotic nutcase in some people's eyes, and the psychotic nutcase may be very well aware of his true essence, and embraces it wholeheartedly. Knows exactly what he is, or she is, and expresses it with openness and honesty. I now have 100% respect for that person, because they don't bring contrast, fuzz, haze. There's clarity, there's concise communication. People are being presented with ideas, structures, and confines that they're all trying to mould themselves into fit. And what's happening is the communication between people is now all fuzzed. The lines are all blurred because people are throwing up all these fantasies and fake expressions to disguise their true essence, because they've been gaslit into being ashamed of what your true essence is. I've got no respect and no time for these people that project bullshit and fuzz and contrast at me. I can be secure knowing that you're expressing who you actually are. That way, an equilibrium will be established. Further understanding will be had. No to transcend it, you know, that shite. But there's no rules. Oh no. But there's no rules. There's no morality and ethics. No, no, I can't have that. That makes me feel insecure. Kill the bastard. Why do you need them? Why do you want to be confined into a wee box? So you can touch the walls, say I'm safe and secure in my wee box. And anybody that tries to break the box, I'm going to kill them. Very bizarre. So anywho, I see it with a lot of people. And it seems to me, you know, I've been one of these people. You know, you've got to remember, you know, I'm not talking like this like I've never been there. I required certainty at certain points in my life. I was desperately looking for it, because life was confusing. I wasn't totally honest with myself. I wasn't embracing who I actually was wholeheartedly and being proud of that. Society, the structures, the ideas, the concepts gaslit me into self-doubting, which leads to a path of self-destruction. Desperately clambering for things to be certain. I'm talking about these things, I'm talking about the bigger picture, okay? I'm not talking about, oh, it's a certainty that if I drop a brick in your head, it's going to cave your skull in. I don't mean that. So, and I think it is frightening for people, which leads me to consider that, you know, steps and measures were taken. You know, whatever this is, whatever this reality is, it's a part of and embedded within that infinite, that eternal. It permeates this. that prime mover, that fundamental reality is what gives rise to all this and supports it all. So maybe discoveries were made of limitation. Maybe realizations were made. Maybe there was a psychological and an emotional reaction to the real truth of our existence and what we're actually a part of here. I don't know. Maybe certain people felt the need to hide that. Maybe it scared them. So what have we got? We've got people here who are acting out of their own will, their own essence, that have not been gaslit, that have always maintained a connection to their true essence and pursued it and followed it through to the end. Regardless of how you view it, ethical, moral, immoral, good, bad, right, wrong, ugly, beautiful, it doesn't matter. This is the whole thing about all this religious stuff, Satan and evil and good and all that stuff. Well, did the prime mover, the fundamental, no give rise to all of that? Yes. Well, what the fuck are you up to trying to fucking control it or change some aspect of it? Do you think it's your job to eradicate evilness from the infinite eternal? How are you going to achieve that? Maybe the only thing you can do is pursue you. Understand what you are. You're in this reality. Okay, what can I do? Well, I can put my attention to whatever I like. I can tell myself whatever I like about anything. And I can attach to that. And I can become a victim of it and be swayed and influenced by it. Oh, I can take control. And I can start painting my own fucking canvas. And no give a fuck about what any cunt else wants of me or expects of me, because that's all signs of needy, insecure, psychotic episodes. So what I'm going to start doing is being totally true with myself and pursuing my own joy, because that's what I am. What am I? I'm an observer, but I've got aspects of me that's joyful, that just wants to be thrilled and have fun and create and play endlessly. Is that not what every child you see being born expresses? Correct me if I'm wrong. I view this as a technology, a canvas for you to achieve whatever it is you like. And if you have got the focus, the intent, the will to go and achieve whatever it is that you've set out, some goal for yourself, then you're probably going to achieve it. And that might be, well, do you know what? I want to control a fucking country, and I want to have armies, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. Well, fucking good on you. If you can achieve that, carry on. And some people achieve it. And then you've got onlookers going, they're evil. Are they? Have they not got the same power you've got? There, we're back to that again. They're evil. I'm good. You're evil and I'm good. I must win. There you go, clutching at certainty again. There you go, thinking you're going to eradicate some aspect of the infinite eternal. How fucking narcissistic and pompous is that? Look at all these concepts and ideas. Look at the people that represent it. Look at the people that are involved in it. Right? They're dysfunctional as far as I'm concerned. So, meaninglessness. So I think that scares people. Oh, my life's meaningless. No. You know, this experience isn't meaningless. It's only meaningless to me when you try and make it transcend. That whatever happens in here somehow adds or takes away from the sea of infinite potentiality and eternal, fundamental reality that gave rise to you. Stop doing that. You can buy into whatever idea or concept you like about yourself and what you're doing here and pursue it wholeheartedly. But don't walk about claiming that it's a certainty and that it means something in another realm and all this stuff, because that's just gibberish. That's needy, insecure, psychotic episodes. So, let me get into it. Well, what does science talk about? Energy. So let's have a wee look here. Now I'm just looking at their things. This doesn't mean this is no for swaying anybody or, oh, look at how intellectual I am. I can pull up a Tinterweb write-up, right, and make it out as if I'm some sort of intellect because I can read it and understand it. I'm just using them as examples. So this is Encyclopedia Britannica. Energy. Energy in physics is the capacity for doing work. It may exist in potential, kinetic, thermal, electrical, chemical, nuclear or other various forms. There are moreover heat and work, i.e. energy in the process of transfer from one body to another. Now that's bullshit. From one body to another, all that stuff, right? But as regards to energy just moving in and out of different forms, fine. Right, but when they start talking about, oh well, when I bumped a stone off that, something jumped for that stone into that one and all that stuff, that's fucking cack. After it has been transferred, energy is always designated according to its nature. Hence, heat transferred may become thermal energy, while work done may manifest itself in the form of mechanical energy. All forms of energy are associated with motion. For example, any given body has kinetic energy, if it is in motion. A tension device such as a bow or spring, though at rest, has the potential for creating motion. It contains potential energy because of its configuration. Similarly, nuclear energy is potential energy because it results from the configuration of subatomic particles and all that jazz. Energy can be neither created nor destroyed, but only changed from one form to another. Okay? So now, when we get to the ideas of God, what's God? Oh, it's infinite and eternal. Can't be created, can't be destroyed. Moves in and out of form. Omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, and all that stuffs. Hello? So, they're both talking about the same thing without acknowledging it. What they're trying to do is place a certainty, an image, a concept, an idea of what that is. And by doing so, you're bringing it into the realms of finite. Now that confuses people, because they take all these things literally. And they think they're going to find certainty in some geometric form, whether it be a fucking story, or a depiction, or a whatever. I'm going to keep asking you this. Infinite, eternal. How the fuck are you going to package that? And if you could package it, then it's defeated. It's no infinite, it's no eternal, it's finite. How are you then going to trace your finiteness back to what? Nothing. There was no thing, then poof, for no reason or rhyme or anything like that, fuck it just all appeared. No, that's intellectual laziness. That's driven by fear yet again. Anything but to accept that you're not going to put certainty upon it. You're not going to bring it into the realms of finite. And anybody that does causes psychotic episodes. Look at the influence of people. Look at the state of them. It's not scary to come to the realisation that that's what you're a part of. It's only scary when you're still insecure and needy. Because when you're insecure and needy, you don't want to face that because you want certainty. Because you think certainty is going to make you feel better and complete you. I hope that makes sense. What else did I write in this title thing? Aye, so we're kind of covered it. Right, but these things for me are what is causing the problems. Right? It's not a problem to me. No. Because of the realisations I've made. I'm at peace with it all. Couldn't give a fuck. I still want to know what these cunts are hiding here. Out of pure curiosity. That being that explorative, aspect of the essence that I am. Not because I need certainty. Just because I'm a curious, nosy bastard. And I want to find out more about this realm, this machine, this thing, whatever the fuck it is. These people running about messiah complexes and fucking this, I'm going to fix the world. I'm here to fix what? Is that us back to you're going to add something to the infinite eternal thing again? You can only make choices. Your attention, your awareness can only take you in certain directions to experience any aspect of that infinite sea of potentiality. Everything exists all at one time. So whatever this tech is allows us, whatever we are, to experience things through a process and have this experience of finiteness. But that's not what you're a part of. That's just the experience you're having right now. Does that make sense? I fucking hope so. Makes sense to me. So, again, all these religions, anybody that's offering up narratives about the universe and who you are and your existence and trying to put a stamp of certainty over the top of any of these things are deluded, cretinous morons that are showing mental illness. This could be a better canvas. We could be having a better time here if people just pulled their attention away from the nonsense that they're ascribing to themselves and attaching themselves to. They're only ideas. All your concepts and ideas about your self-identity, your place within it, your culture, your society, your family, all the structures. It's you that is putting your attention to that. You're aligning yourself with it. You're telling yourself it's real. I am Dell. I am father. I have children. I must work. I must do this. I have stature. No, you don't. You just have an illusion that that's what you have. It's not certain. You're going to die. Sorry. Again, you're scared of it. Because that's what you've been taught. Look at the way we treat death. It's all episodes of the schism. It's nothing to worry about. There's no such thing as no thing. I think people are worried that they might not have an awareness like they have right now. Well, you have an awareness when you dream. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just drift. Sometimes nothing's happening. Sometimes stuff is happening. But you don't worry about it. You don't have any concern. You can be driving in a car, going over a humpback bridge and going 150 feet into the air. Oh, I'm going to smack the ground, I'm going to smack the ground. And then bang, you're in some other scenario and it's like, oh, fucking cool, I'm here now, alright, what's happening? Don't worry about it. Don't let all these clowns stress you and put you in fear and worry about all this stuff. Because they know that as long as you are in fear and worry and in finite, nonsensical concepts in your mind, you're malleable. You'll buy their products. They have sway over you. So therefore, they can have a better time. And you go, they're evil. No. They're just utilising the very same tools that you have, only they're using them better. So you might want to start learning. And stop pointing at them going, evil. Satan. Well, where did Satan come from? God. What, the infinite, eternal thing? That's right, aye. Alright, okay, so it created Satan and knew what you've got. Hey? Really? It's nonsense. Total and utter fucking nonsense. Sooner you realise that, the better. Sooner everybody starts realising it, the better. Stop being scared of your true essence. Stop being scared to freely express what you are. There's no mystical guy gonna judge you and put you in a wee box and all that stuff. That's all man-made constructs of gibberish. Anyhow, I have rattled on enough. Do you want to talk to me about any of this? Aye, wait for the aliens, aye, that's it. Mere need for certainty and scaredness. Oh, something's going to come and make it alright because I'm too fucking lazy and scared to figure it out myself. Aye. I need finite certainty. Okie dokie. Now, these rampant pedo rings, as I say, Blaz and Cola, my essence and who I am, I don't align with any of that. That's not what I partake in. So if you've got a fear for your own children or whatever, then that comes to your responsibility. People need to start being responsible. They've set up networks. They've set up a structure, right, of authority and stature where people hand over their children to institutions. 8 and 9 hours a day, whether it be home situations or school situations or whatever the fuck it is, that facilitates and allows these fuckers to pursue those desires, those impulses. But again, you can use your potential, you can use your power, you can change that. You can remove your attention, you can remove your participation in whatever's going on. Or you can be active in trying to expose them. You can be active in trying to break apart whatever games it is they're playing. We all can take part in anything we like. Again, do you think that infinite potential, that eternal thing, has made a limited spectrum? Oh no, fucked up. I've made a spectrum of all these possibilities of people. Now I need little old Dell and fucking whoever to be in here to fix it all for me because I've just lost control. Is that what you really think? I know it's scary to some people that there's other essences, other types of beings that are totally different from you. But where do we have the right to say, well, I'm, in a transcendent aspect, they need to be eradicated? No. They may just have a sway in this area, this part here, this aspect of tech that they've got dominance over. But that's only because people are misplacing their attention. This is the point. These fuckers are allowed to run the place the way they want it to run because there's no resistance to them. People are not removing their attention and manifesting another way. Well, they're doing's bitching and moaning about it. and waiting for somebody else to fix it. And you've got all these cunts perpetuating it, going, it's Satan and demons and all that stuff. So therefore, oh well, what can I do then? Nothing. I'm just going to sit and whine and moan about it and wait for the aliens or God to come and wipe it all clean and make it all fluffy and flowery and smelling like summer. If that's what you want, fucking get active on it. Start focusing your own attention to whatever avenue you want to paint in the canvas. This is the stupidity. People talk about loving creative gods and all that stuff. And then, I mean, like the pedos and all these fucking people that you're talking about, well, where did they come from then? Did it not come from that same thing? Maybe again, some of these traits and behaviour is just a result of the spiralling psychotic episode of insecurity, circumstance, abuse, trauma, creating schisms, emotions driving thoughts and driving these people, these observers into these avenues that they pursue because they're desperately trying to fulfill something or take out some angst or whatever the fuck it may be. There's more depth to try to understand these things than just labelling it with some stupid, idiotic, religious, transcendental fucking narrative bullshit. And going, that's it, I've got it sorted now, I just need to fucking shoot her, he comes me, now I am holier than now and all that. I mean, what's the matter with you? We're all just children. It's the progress of ideas and concepts that is taking us further and further away to it, because the children at being born are being driven to put their attention and placing meaning upon this nonsensical crap that's just all an idea, an expression. I'll open up the floor, fuck it. Better off just having dialogue about some of this stuff rather than me reading the chat box. I've always asked that, Celtic 67. Aye, grow up and be an adult. As soon as you can define it and show me what that means, then I'll maybe give it a bash. Again, that's just all part of this pseudo-intellect. These clowns that think they've got certainty. They want to drag everybody else into their wee idea, their wee box concept. And that's what's happened. And again, because people don't understand their power, they've allowed it to happen. Willfully or unwillfully, it doesn't matter. Your consent can be willful or unwillful. Do something or do nothing, it's one and the same fucking thing. There's an idea and concept running and driving. And if you sit back and do fuck all, it's going to fucking start dictating what's happening. All that I have is the ability to place my attention on whatever scenario or thing, any of the potentiality that exists, that was already there. I can then experience them, depending on where my attention goes from one moment to the next, because that's what's driving everything. Anywho, let's see if anybody is up for discussing any of this. I want it to be centred around about what I've been speaking about this evening, so that we can iron out and get some clarity. Okay, questions, whatever you've got. I'm going to find the God particle. Are you? That's right. You're gonna box in the infinite eternal thing. That's right. Aye. Very good. How do you know it's infinite and eternal? Well, whatever avenue have you got? Finite? Finite ends up at a place of no thing. You no longer need to specify what? Huh? Oh shit. I don't think we can do this anymore. Do you know what? I can't do it through YouTube's, but I can do it this way, I think. YouTube's not allowing me to do the events thing. So wait a minute, what I'm going to need to do is set up just a hangout and share that. Phone call, video call. Right, I don't need to invite anybody right now. Right, so this should work. Let me see here. You're the only one here. Wait a second. Right, that's allowing me to do that. Right, so if I share this, we should still be able to. It's just not allowing you through YouTube to set up an event with Google Hangouts. That's all. But that should work. So while I'm waiting, is anybody got any questions? Pure tech wizard, Magumba. Hey. Bill, how's it going, mate? So, anybody in the chat, anything in regards, because obviously I've not been paying attention, so I may have missed anything that you offered or any questions you had. The calendar. Boom me. Del, do you think consciousness is infinite or finite? Again, we're talking about us as individuals. I think this is the problem that people have, and this is a lot of where the anxiety and fear is. People are scared of losing the aspect of self, their awareness that, you know, you're going to die and it's going to be lights out and that's it. So, I doubt it, boom me, that it's finite. Maybe there's an aspect to me that doesn't want that to be the case, that it is finite. Maybe finite in regards to this experience of this tech, this particular area of that infinite. But as I say, you experience dreams. There's worlds, scenarios, light, feeling, expression, everything. But you have no care about this. You don't worry about it. It doesn't even come into your awareness. Del, so will as a matter of selection from already existing options that are continually changing, Del? Well, I mean, us and all the potential, you know, avenues already must have existed. Because again, how can you be exploring or creating something new then you would be adding to something that must be finite. But your will can take you on avenues of experience of things that already exist. Or you can just be pushed by the ebb and flow of whatever else is happening by not applying your will and your intent. That's satanic, that's Aleister Crowley and all that fucking stuff's not. Oh, sorry, but that's not an intellectual discussion. Just fucking name slinging. I don't know if anybody's aware, but that's all you have. Your awareness and your ability to place your will and your intent upon whatever you like. And if you're not doing that, then you're not in control of yourself. You're being swayed by the consensus. Just because you say these things, and I have my essence, I know what I am, I understand that. That doesn't mean to say I'm going to go out and fucking rape and murder and pillage and all that stuff. Not everybody has that expression. And again, we have to look at the complexities of what brings these behaviours about. What circumstances happened? And if we put our attention and will to painting a different canvas, it's probably less likely that these schism type episodes are going to happen. Because you have nurture, you have security, you have love, understanding, compassion, watering the newbies, welcoming them to the canvas. Paint away, my friend, paint away. Oh, you're a bloody hippie. Alright then, we'll just kill each other. And not have a good time, right? Because we don't want to be fucking hippies, do we? I mean, fuck that. Fuck having a good time. Then you're going to get these dipshits that come along and go, well, you need the contrast, you need the negatives, so that you appreciate the goodsies. Because we're going to get fed up having a good time, aren't we? We're all going to get bored and sick, fed up of that. Oh, here everybody, are we all bored of having a good time now? Right, let's get back to having some war so that we can appreciate having a good time. I mean, what's the fucking matter with you? Go and get me anybody that's fed up of having a good time. Because they need some medication. No, you need some trauma in your life. You need some trauma so that you go on a 30-year psychotic episode of self-deceiving and leaving your true essence behind, right? So that you can find yourself again and rejoice in it and appreciate it and all that crap. That's it, rid of me that. Oh, fuck this, enjoy myself, carry on. Shoot me in the ankles. I need some pain and angst so that I can appreciate that I was having a good time or something. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense, all this shite that people come out with. Somebody asked me to set a hangout up as I open the floor. I knew that I've done it, he's all running away. So any other questions for the chat? Let's keep going with this stuff. Keep throwing out your doubts or, you know, whatever you want to throw at me. Just let me hear it or see it. Stars and bars, but this again is the ego, the self-identity that you've created through identification with family unit. You know, your name, who they say you are and what's expected of you and all these types of things. But a child doesn't have that. A child is just a pure expression of the essence that they are. It's the structure, the canvas that's being painted here that wants to mould them. So what do you mean by the self? Your essence? That thing that you are and you probably always were and will be forever and ever and ever. What do you think about consciousness being able to exist without life? What physicality like we experience right now? Well, how the fuck did all this get here? If it didn't come by way of intellect and thought and intent, of course it exists without being embodied within material. We can only discuss that philosophically. I can't prove it to you. I can't pull it out and go, there it's there. Because then it would be finite again. It's impossible. We can only experience the effect that the prime mover gave rise to. You're never going to be out with eternity and all that stuff to be able to see it, because then it wouldn't be eternal and infinite. Again, this is the scary thing for people. They keep going round in circles, getting to points where they want to grasp at certainty. You're not going to get it. You're never going to get it. I'm sorry. I have to accept that. Listen to what I'm saying. If I could get certainty and a full picture of eternity and the infinite, then it's finite. It's something that I can be out with and see as a finite thing. You're always going to be within it. No, Andrew Calvert, I think it's spot on as well, mate. Again, it's like, I'm not offering certainty. I'm certain that what I'm saying is right. I'm part of something that's eternal and infinite. I can't package it, I can't grasp at it, I can't be out with it to see it as a whole. And I wouldn't want to. It's much more enthralling to me to know that it's eternal and infinite. And any amount of experience is there in abundance forever and ever and ever. And it's just perpetual going from one scenario to another scenario like you do when you're dreaming. Only this is a reoccurring one. Do I have a question? Of all questions, the Daily Mail reported the arson attack in Crowley's Loch Ness home last week. It burned down 3 years ago, go figure. Interesting, Brandon Cook, I never knew that. Aye, Stephen Parker, I think, the ultimate is unintelligible. And why would you want it to be? You have to ask yourself what drives you to want that certainty. It's fear and anxiety, insecurity. It's a sign of what's going on internally with yourself. That's where control stems. Through fear, uncertainty, and a need to try and fulfill that hole, that void. But it's all being created by that awareness, that being within that's playing the game, that probably doesn't realise the game they're playing. Levi Foster, if we live in a designed system, there must be a reason why we were put here unless a lunatic designed the place. Well, you've heard me saying that, this place and what it represents, and all these narratives of lovingness and blah, blah. It may well be, but again, it stems from the point of fear. Again, that you're looking at it and you have a limited understanding of what it's about. But whatever this is, it's just an area within that infinite sea of potential and eternity, right? An aspect of it. It's no good, bad, or any of these things. It's just part of the potential. But people don't like that because they feel like victims of it. Maybe you were a conscious entity that came across this, like any of the other scenarios in your dream state that you just happen to wander into. I don't know. be anything. Deceptive aspects of consciousness within the infinite, eternal, existence. It created a finite amount of souls, if you like, that go full circle in a spectrum from every potential possibility. I mean, it could be anything. So you're dealing with some creative, mischievous, aspect here. It could be anything. But the problem is trying to, needle in here and find some sort of certainty that gives rise to meaning that transcends out with this experience. Because again, we're back to the same problem. Well, if the fundamental prime mover gave rise to this experience, then what is it you think you're going to do within the experience that's going to transcend it and somehow add or take away from the prime mover that gave rise to it in the first place? The prime mover must be finite then. Because little old you can come along and do something that now adds something to it. So what is it, a point that's finite within a certain area that's growing? Right, so where's it growing into? What's this area, this thing, this God or this whatever is going on in your mind? What's it growing into? Where did it come from? What encompasses it? Nothing. It doesn't work. So even at that, the shaman anarchist, it's definitely a test. A test denotes that, again, that you're going to add something or take something away from that prime mover, that infinite, eternal potentiality. It gives rise to all potential. So what would your test be? All right, I'm here in life. Right, there's a test. Right, so what does that mean? That when I leave here, I go to some area of the infinite and I'm rewarded, I'm allowed to go and access that bit. But these dipshits are no, because if they get access to it, they might change it in some way. Well, that potential must have existed. It doesn't matter what they get up to when they leave here, because they're never going to change or add to any of it. I need a tea. This is God calling. El Master needs el cup of tea. I'm a bit parched here. I'm a bit parched. Yes. No, did it? Don't give me any backtracks. Don't want to lose face, Right. Yeah, that or tea, whatever. Aye. Bye now. Bye bye. That's it, beyond belief. It's just tech. It's my problem comes when people try and place meaning that transcends the experience. Because again, if you arrive at the understanding that there's a prime mover, something infinite and eternal that gave rise to it, then what the fuck am I going to do here to add or take anything away from that? Maybe within it, I have the potential to expand to a certain point. Maybe. Well, Degenerates, that's awful nice of you. I really appreciate that, but it's difficult, you know. I really want to achieve this, and I want to ask people if, you know, if people think that I've offered them anything, you know, for the attention that I've gave to this over the time. It's not about monetizing the truth or the information. So that's why I don't just like asking for it for nothing. You know, I might put Emma's, you know, the PayPal thing up here. And if we achieve the goal that we want to achieve, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, however many people it is that offer us it, and if we achieve the goal, I'm just going to put them all into a hat. I'm going to do it live, and I'm going to pull anything out the hat. And whoever comes out the hat gets the bike. Now they can then do whatever they want with the bike, right? And if I don't achieve the target, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to refund everybody that put money to it, and I'm just going to go away and try and sell the bike privately. So, but I appreciate it. Cheers here on the Generates. I would love to. No, that's it, Celtic 67. I want a game. See this flat earth football team thing? I want a game. I want to be your manager. I want to be involved. Get me involved, please. I'll come to Spain. Perfect life for me. I'll come to Spain and kick a bag of air about all day. If you're out there and you hear this, reach out. Aye, David Marks, I've had my fair experience of sleep paralysis. Why is nobody coming in? People asked me to open the hangout up and no nobody's joining me. Has anybody tried to click it? Is it working? Why is no rushing away to watch big debates? Such and such, Dick Sniffer A is going to do battle with Dick Sniffer B. They're going to spew drivel at each other, and then you have to select what one's your favourite. 1 for Dick Sniffer A, or 2 for Dick Sniffer B. There you go, make your choice. We're now electing Dick Sniffers to represent the objective facts. I heard noises. Hello.
Hey, Dale.
How's it going, mate?
Just checking your hangout for you.
Oh, nice one, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I don't have nothing to offer. Everybody knows what I think.
Aye.
I'm pretty much with you on this infinity thing. People think they can actually add to it. That is kind of comic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's insanity.
So we might as well kick back and have a good time, right?
Well, this is it, mate. Put your attention to whatever's true to you and pursue that, you know, and remove your attention from anything that you don't want to be part of. It's just simple, isn't it?
Yeah, but I can't hear, you know, they want to hear me talk anyway, but I just want to make sure it was working for you.
No, no worries, Dave. Appreciate it, my man.
Everybody have a good one.
Cheers, buddy.
Somebody get in here and talk some sense into Dale now.
Hey, come in and fix me. There's always saviours out there. There's people that I think they've got certainty. Oh, I'm going to come in and sort of it, you know that. Well, I'm waiting. So aye, let me just show you. You know, the reason why I want to get out of here is just I want to show the boys, you know, options and different expressions, and it's just the weather thing, man. I mean, we see this. I took a video this morning. We've had nothing but rain, right? Again, I'm going to show you this. Hold on. We've had nothing but rain constantly, right? And look at this. Every fucking day. Every single fucking day. Constantly dreary, constantly fucking raining. Right? Look at this. I took this video this morning. Let me see if this works here. Not working. No. Shit. Right, fuck it. I can't share that. I need to upload it to something and then I can share it. I'll show it the next time. Just spraying fuck out the sky, wherever the sun is. I mean, bombarding it. It was a lovely morning this morning and they just obsessively fucking sprayed. And I'm sick of these people that want to deny it. I'm not making claims that it's tequilas and all this stuff, but this phenomena is happening. It's no passenger planes, it's no ice particles and all that fucking shite. These cunts are fucking with the sky. Obsessively spraying it. Couple of years later, bang, totally overcast, pissing down for 2 weeks solid. It's been pissing down for the last 4 months. I need to escape this, it's fucking driving me insane. Anywho, don't fucking start me on that. Hello? Who's that?
How you doing, Dale?
Ali, how you doing?
Not so bad. Yeah, I just thought I'd like to come in and talk about the weather.
No, fuck that, mate. You'll end up, I'll be spitting at the screen and everything.
What happened to? I'm getting a bit of feedback here.
Aye. I don't know what's going on, mate.
Never mind. So what was it you were talking about anyway, apart from the weather?
Meaning and the infinite, the eternal, yada yada. Are you not listening? Thank you.
Oh, I just jumped in. I listened to. I got you going on about the weather there. I was just wondering what you were talking about before.
Well, I was talking about the fact for me that we're part of something infinite and eternal, and that people try and place meaning here at this experience that's going to somehow transcend, which denotes that you can add or take something away from the infinite eternity, which would then denote that it's not infinite and eternal, it's finite, which is, ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to pin down. I mean, it's like that Big Bang Theory and all that. It's just a pathetic attempt to do what you just said there.
Mm-hmm. Well, even at
Just
that, they know they can't escape it, which is why they come out with the singularity, and now they're trying to invoke that it's an endless procession of Big Bangs and multiverses and all this kind of stuff, because they know intellectually there's no way to escape that's what you're part of. You can't bring it down to a point of finiteness that it ends up at nothing, no thing. It's totally bonkers.
Yeah, because it breaks that law about matter can neither be created or destroyed or anything. I don't know.
Energy, aye, it can't be created, it can't be destroyed, it can only move in and out of form.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the same.
I was watching. Sorry.
No, you're right. No, go, mate.
Alright, I was watching a video there. A physicist, a guy called Paul Steinhardt. It was about an hour and a half, and he basically goes through it. It's quite funny. It ties into what you were talking about. He basically said that that the Big Bang Theory, it can never be proven, disproven. Its strength is based on 4 assumptions, but it can never be proven.
Yeah.
It can never. It's just pure philosophical.
Yeah.
And that's all that science has actually become. It's the theoretical stuff. No, the other physics works, man. The physics, actual physics.
Well, to clarify that, Ali, the physics as in what we can do with the effects here. I can take this material and apply it to this material and I'm going to get this effect and this causality and blah, blah, blah. But when you're bringing it right down to the fundamental, you're never going to get beyond effect, because how can you be out with? We're always part of the effect.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's well, if you want to put it that way, it's like they're part of the experiment. So it's like a fish in water doesn't know it's we're above here or whatever, or that they're swimming about in water. It's nothing. Yeah, it's probably a bit deeper than that, but.
Aye. Mm-hmm.
But
That's the difficulty, and that's why I just laugh at all these people now when they're trying to place certainty upon existence and what we're a part of, and they're trying to utilise and bring in these finite concepts and postulations and whatever else. It's just totally ridiculous, you know.
Well, all these beliefs that they've got, because they are beliefs, they've all come from ancient. There's a guy called Heraclitus. That's right, Heraclitus.
Heraclitus?
No, Heraclitus.
Heraclitus? I've never seen a Heraclitus in my life.
Yeah, I know. It's funny that I couldn't help it saying. I thought, what is his parents doing, man? You know what I mean? Because clitoris is an old word as well. So he must have got hell at school.
Aye.
But no wonder he was a loner. Actually, that was the myth behind him. But he was kind of the first to come up with like the Big Bang kind of thing. I can't remember. I've got a couple of quotes from. I can't remember.
See, I just ignore all these guys that try and geese the existential narratives. I'm only interested in the guys that can offer us up, real world, tangible, factual stuff like this substance with this substance achieves this, or that has an effect like that on that, and yada yada. Real world practicality that we can utilise and understand and put to use.
Exactly.
But when they start going beyond that and trying to, extrapolate it into fucking the bigger meaning and what we're a part of, then I'm just like, fuck off,
Yeah, but I don't mean unfortunately, but it's quite funny, like the people that are defending it, because as I say, I listen to quite a lot of other chats, man, and it's like, I just don't get it, right? That the guys, they can't actually hear what they're saying, like they're saying, gravity is not a force, but it acts as a force. It manifests and it starts in the fourth dimension, manifests in the third dimension. The funny thing is they can imagine that, but see if you ask them to imagine like a simple thing, their imagination goes out the window. They've been pre-programmed. The crack. We've been programmed from the beginning, getting images of balls and particles and supernovas and galaxies, and they're basically, and not one of them's a real picture.
Aye. Aye. Just crap.
And then they kind of try to propagate the. I don't know what these scientists are doing at all. Is it funding or is it money or what is it?
I think a lot of it's deliberate. It keeps people in the fear aspect of finite, grasping at certainty. It feeds insecurity and a need for certainty. That's what all these narratives are feeding into, rather than, just expressing the truth. Look, we realise, philosophically, intellectually, we're part of something infinite, something eternal. We're never going to be able to place certainty on it. We can't place it in a geometry, box it, package it, show you it, but we're going to kid on that we're trying to. So we're going to come up with all this bullshit, all these stories and narratives, that all that it does is keep feeding into the insecurity of people.
Yeah, well, it does, because the fact is, it's I don't know. People they say that, or science or whatever philosophy or some psychologists say that human beings need to believe in a creator or something. They're saying like it's an inherent thing in us. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe about. I'm like,
I think the day, Ali, I think, again, it's a psychological frame that's created when narratives are spewed about finite existence or being in wee delicate balls coming for big bangs and blah, blah, blah. That's going to spawn insecurity and a need to have meaning like a creator, a loving personal dude that's going to make it all right because that makes them feel better about it. If we just eradicate these existential narratives and stop allowing them to profess it as science or some sort of intellectual pursuit, then all that would go away. I think all that would diminish rapidly.
Yeah, I think that myself, because you find that most ball earthers, I mean, there's a couple of them, I'm not saying they all are, but there's a couple that are Christians, but the most of them are just, that they seem to be in fear of the fact that there could possibly be a creator. Myself, I don't know, I wouldn't be a thing, but I could
But there is,
guarantee
there is a prime mover.
about them.
But there is a prime mover, there's a prime reality, a prime thing that we're part of, but it's everybody grasping at what it's about and what it wants, and it being like a self-identifying singular thing and all this stuff. It's all limiting, it's all finite narratives and concepts, As I say, I look at my kids all the time. I remember being a kid, I did not give a fuck about any of that stuff. It didn't interest me. It's the trauma, the insecurity that drives you to try and pursue an avenue of certainty. I'm going to find the answers, the ultimate answers, and all this stuff. It's psychotic episodes. Children don't give a fuck about any of that. I watch my wee man. He'll pish where he wants. He'll fall asleep in a wee mound of dirt out in the back door. He'll wake up. He'll walk out to something. He'll break it. Then he'll go across there and he'll fix something, and then he'll go on his bike, and he just keeps moving from one moment to the next, no giving a fuck.
Yeah.
But that's not right. That's wrong. I mean, is it?
Well, the thing with that is we get that knocked out of us through whatever that trauma, it's trauma, but it's that, but we get bombarded with it on so many different levels. But that's certainly the one about how we came to being and stuff like that. That's like the biggie, what you said, they're putting the fear of people, and then they're getting it from the other side, the people that are the Christians. Mm-hmm. They're getting that side as well.
Exactly.
Here's this guy's
they're both the same.
Going to kick the shit out if he sees you.
They're both the same. They're both the same. They encompass a mainframe psychological state, and that's where people are operating. And it's, all this transcendental meaning and finite existence and finite narratives. It's all influencing the psychology of the observers, and they're painting on the canvas through fear and anxiety and all this stuff, and this is what we're seeing. This is what's manifesting in front of you right now, And
exactly.
But people are perpetuating these narratives that it's Satan, non-entities that are doing it, and know the will of the people. Anything but the will of the people. It's not their will and their attention that's manifesting. No, it's demons and aliens and fucking angels and other non-entities. It's their fault. No, our fault. We've not to take responsibility for painting the canvas. Nah, fuck that. We're just pawns in some bigger game that's out with our capacity. Mm-hmm. It's fucking idiotic.
Yeah. But the thing is, the problem, and that's why I give human beings the what do you call it, the pass or the free pass on it. I can't really, because the fact is that, and as well as I know, and loads of people know, probably everybody that's into the conspiracy know that we have been bombarded from childhood. So you're actually not actually talking to real people. We are interacting with people that are having, deciding how our lives are going. The majority. Not how our lives have to be play out through governments and police
concepts
and stuff like that.
Concepts, ideas, and these are influencing.
And they're just brainwashed and sorry.
Aye, just they're moulded and pushed into these avenues. By expectation, peer pressure. This is the way it is. This is the way it's always been. This is good. This is wrong. This is right. This is bad. All that fucking shit. That molds the self-identity into a finite, nonsensical narrative that takes them further away from their true essence.
Exactly, and where my sympathy stops is when it comes to YouTube and these hangouts. I'm trying not to swear. These hangouts with these ball earthers, they know better. No. They're part of this. They've been exposed to things. Just other maybe not other conspiracies, but we've all mentioned them. We've talked about the chemtrails.
It's pure narcissism. It's pure narcissism, Ali. As I said it earlier. We know what the universe is. We know everything there is to know about everything. We've got the whole thing sussed out. Total narcissistic projections coming from insecurity and a need for certainty. so that they can feel superior over others because they're insecure.
Yeah, exactly. I find it personally myself, right? I don't really get offended anymore. When I first got into this, when I was a raging, we've been lied to use, and I was wanting to tell everybody, like spread the message and all that kind of stuff, and it kind of gradually been fascinated by the characters on the other side, because that's what they are, characters, man. And not loads of narcissistic tendencies, and like blind to. Sometimes when they say stuff, Dale, it's like, did you hear what you just said there? You know what I mean? It's like, what? It's like that double speak. They admit that science can't prove anything, right? And scientists will say that, but yet they'll defend it. They're so adamant it's true, and it's like, well, if they're telling you, they're telling you guys that they can't prove anything, and they're not sure, and well, actually, we don't know about that, and we don't know about this, and we do add things, right?
Yeah.
Even though they're getting told this by the very people that they seem to be quoting, they'll still deny it when you point it out to them. They still want it. They're driven to that, to believe in it. Some of them, but some of them are just at it.
Yeah.
Some of them know it's bullshit they're talking, and there are controllers within that. Not all of them.
No.
It only takes, it only takes a couple of people.
Exactly.
That, to befriend. They've got a little groups, a little private Skype things, chats. They come on here, Dale. There's 5 of them typing messaging. They've admitted it. You know what I mean?
Of course, I don't get
so it's like, it's strange, that behaviour.
Yeah, it doesn't interest me. Again, all I see is insecurity. With these people and their mad projections. I don't need any of that, so they can get up to whatever they like. They're not going to affect my attention, my will, my essence. I'm not going to let go of that ever again. So fuck them. It means nothing to me. I can see them for what they are. So
I just find it psychologically. I just find it fascinating. I really do. I just find it. I really. It doesn't affect me, but I just find it fascinating. It's just, I'm fascinated that there's people like that out there. Because throughout my life, I've never really met people sort of really like that before, man. And I've been all over the place. I've had I've bummed around and done loads of stuff, loads and loads of people. Had got angry, got into fights, but I kind of, even Brian Cox, he's like in the same mould. If you see him talking, the way he condescends to Glass Tyson, it's like a weird state of being kind of thing. That's what I've been.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
It's just laughable, mate, to me. So, aye, so.
Well, what do you think the solution is then? I know exploration and stuff like that, but I mean, yeah.
Well, I think, for people to alleviate some of the angst that they might be feeling is contemplating and maybe arriving at the same realisations that, I've arrived at. That in the bigger picture that encompasses this whole experience and what we're a part of, it's something you can't box, it's something that you can't grasp it with certainty. You're not going to be able to place a geometry around it. You just need to accept that you're not going to get that, and let go of that, and just, experience being yourself, and have fun. Get back to that childlike state, that pure, true expression again, and not be, editing yourself, gaslighting yourself, lowering your self-esteem, for all these concepts, ideas and expectations that are being presented to you. And again, people need to realise that they have the power. They're the ones that placed their attention to it in the first place. It's no God, it's no the devil, it's no invisible entities. It was you. You always had the power. You always will have the power. Wherever you place your attention, that's what you're going to experience.
Yeah, because in the end, you make the choices, and it is a form of creating your, when I always use that, I always believe that you can create your own reality by meaning. You can create your own reality by the choices that you make. The minute you get up in the morning, unless you've got to work, go to work or whatever, but you've got a choice how to, so your life is in your hands. There's no passing work,
That's
or it's
it.
because of
But
the government, or
these people
so-
create a sidu, Ali, like, you know, a sidu, like a society. You can look at society as a sidu, you know, and then it's offered up there, and people go, oh, that's a fanciful sidu or concept. Oh, I'm going to have some of that, and before you know it, you're 4 or 5 generations down the line, and it's grown. Because people have willfully participated in this sidu, this idea, this concept, and then they're all running about looking for a way out and blaming all sorts of fantasy and whatever else, no realising that it was the human beings in their capacity, their potential, that participated it and allowed it to grow in the first place. You know?
Yeah.
So, and then once they've established a sidu, a society, an industry, or whatever the fuck it is, they want to perpetuate it. Because they've now got the upper hand, they can experience other aspects, they've got freedom, they can utilise other people, they've got stature over them, people are in bewilderment, they can be utilised and used for their own selfish benefit. Now, you can't look at that as evil or good or whatever, they're just utilising the tools that you and I have.
Yeah, exactly, and they've just got us to but the thing is, the only reason that, you know, that we have got the tools is, you know, we have sort of taken a step back out of society, had a look, and then maybe read up, or maybe thought, wait a minute here, why is that, and look for and think, oh, right, okay. But these people are still like you know, like stuck in that cycle or whatever.
They've just bought into it. They've never contemplated it. They've just, you know, skimmed over it, bought into it. Okay, I accept it. This is life. This is what's expected of me. This is who I am. Blah, blah, blah. That's the main print that they've put in there. And then they've carried on from that moment forward. You know, and they never questioned it. They never, I always questioned it. What my partner here? What's going on? What's happening here? What's everybody up to? Where's my place? What am I doing here? What's going on? You know, and always had that type of questioning, analysing the stimulus, analysing what I'm buying into. No, always maybe finding myself 2 or 3, 4, 5 years down the line that I've been pursuing or chasing a certain idea or concept, and then realised that it was a delusion. You know, there's so many complexities and layers.
Yeah, that's
to
horrible.
This.
You know, I done that kind of thing. It's like you're fooling yourself, and you think, well, but you know, in the end up, it's like that forgiveness. You know, and I always go, you know, when I say, you know, not hippie stuff, but it's for not that hippie stuff, but you know, it's about it's loving yourself and not from doing the right thing with from others. You know, getting your confirmation from others, kind of thing, and learn that again, because they end up, sorry, you know.
No, I was listening. I was just agreeing with what you were saying. It's all down to you, what you're buying into, where you're placing your attention. No caring, you know, what others are up to or being influenced by it. It's none of your business. It's no your concern. Embrace what you are, identify what you are, and always wear that on your sleeve. The biggest problem people have is self-delusion, self-lying. Right? If people, analyse what they actually are, and nobody's scared of that, then it would get better for them. Then they would find themselves waking up every morning and feeling free, because they're happy and content with the essence that they are. You're not going to change your essence. You are what you are.
Yeah.
You know, you can only delude yourself and place filters in the way of your self-realisation. But, you know, some people can go through a whole lifetime of that. But I was never satisfied with self-delusion.
Yeah, that's it.
You're breaking up, Ali. You there, mate? You're breaking up.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Oh, Gav, how's it going?
There's Gav, how you doing?
How you doing, Ali? All right, Del.
Not so bad. Yeah.
You listening in?
I was, yeah, well, bits and bobs as the time permitted, but I just wanted to give a couple of thoughts on the things that I asked myself. So I think I fully agree with you, Dale, that these incessant narratives that we get in cosmologies is a kind of dishonesty. At the end of the day, it's a bit like, admitting to the fact that you don't know where you are, right? Basically, if you think about the logic and the reasoning that we can apply with, the constitution that we have, then you have to come to the conclusions that you're saying, right?
Yeah.
I don't see any other way around that either.
No.
Right? And those, I'd much rather that the people who come with their existential narratives that want me to believe that should be honest and say, well, look, we're never going to know, probably, because we're stuck inside the cause and effect machine, right? And we're not outside it, right? Mm-hmm. But there's a few things that I still ask myself, though. And whilst I agree that I think the fear that people have of coming to that realization makes them want to attach to these narratives, right? Yep. Because, as you say, it gives them a security blanket, it makes them feel better, they adopt something. But the question I ask myself is, obviously we come with this, how should I say, it would appear at least to be a built-in to fuck and to have children and to perpetuate this, right? Similar to the way an acorn always makes an oak tree, right? Yep. It doesn't turn into a peach tree, right? Yep. So there's something inherent in the machine, if you like, that makes us perpetuate this, Yep. And I always got scared that, if we all think we're globe gobblers, then we're always going to perpetuate ourselves into globe gobblers, right? Or people who believe in some cult, and the only real way to stop that would appear to be to not perpetuate, right? Because I've always wondered, well, what would happen to this whole thing if every lion decided, right, I'm not going to have any more cubs. Every person decided, that they're not going to have any more children. What would happen if it all came to a stop in that respect? Do you know what I mean? It's one of the questions I ask myself. I know I'm not expecting you to answer.
But even the construct of physicality and reality, Gabriel, for me, what I was talking about was, well, what even gives rise to that? And again, it's back to this prime mover, this infinite, this eternal thing. So if we then look at, right, okay, well, we're in this, temporal, illusion of separation. What is it that we think we're going to do in here? Or anything that happens in here that's somehow going to add or take anything away for that fundamental prime mover? That's what I'm getting at with people. It's like everybody's looking to place meaning, whether good, bad, moral, immoral, ethical, and transcend it into this ethereal, metaphysical prime mover that's infinite and eternal. How the fuck are we going to change any of that? I mean, it doesn't compute with me. Because then again, well, if I can, it means that fundamental thing that gave rise to us isn't infinite and eternal, it's finite in some way. But then you're back to the same problem. Well, if it's finite in some way or form, it must be somewhere. So again, you're back to the infinite regress again. I just can't escape that realisation.
Yeah. And again, I think that if children were taught that basic intellectual honesty at the start and that logic, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying immediately at the age of 2 or 3, but you were referring, for example, to the fearlessness of your children, right? Mm-hmm. I do feel that the fear is often, or mostly, when people have been educated to a certain state and they don't want to change that state, right? Yeah. Whereas if you're in in a constant desire just to free flow and change your state the way your kid does, peeing in the corner and sleeping whenever he wants, Yeah. I've always loved that thought of just falling asleep in the middle of a business meeting, where I just lie on the floor and have a wee doss, just to see their faces.
Exactly.
But, sorry, I lost the plot there, but what I said, the fearlessness of your kids, we tend to lose that when we get older, and then we get fixated to that change, and that's where the fear comes, and we end up just perpetuating the stuff that we didn't really want,
Exactly.
And it's horrible, pretty horrible, the way we confined ourselves to that kind of group think, or that kind of,
but
should I say, cult think. Yeah.
But for me, it's the influence of the sigils, when I'm saying sigil, I'm talking about an idea like a society or a civilization and all its practices. And for me, these are all sigils, these are all ideas and concepts that each individual may have, spewed out or contemplated or experienced or offered up, some imaginative whatever, and people have grasped onto it and tried to solidify it, and it's more and more people have placed their attention to it, and it's grew and grew and grew, and it's just a deck of cards. It doesn't mean anything. It's just wherever you're placing your attention and your will and your energy, that's going to perpetuate. So, treat this like a canvas of experience, that you can just paint whatever canvas you fucking like. It doesn't mean anything other than the thrill of the experience. As soon as people start trying to tell me, oh no, but whatever you do here transcends and there's going to be this, that and the other, then I'm like, nah, that doesn't fucking work, because we're back to something finite again, and, you know, I can somehow affect that or change it in some fucking form or other. Can I? You know, how pompous would I need to be to think that?
And that's what I mean. It's a bit like the push and the pull. You know, if you look at it very closely, then you come to the realization that there only is a push.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with this. If you look at all these existential narratives, you'll come to the same conclusion that they all contain that same fallacy, right?
Yeah.
That they think they can, you know, bypass this logic that you're pointing out, right?
Yeah.
There is no way past it.
No.
You know, so we'd be better off teaching the people that that's the way it is, and then, you know, progressing from there rather than, you know, having all these narratives to latch onto.
But I think
in fear.
But I think also that the state that humans are in right now, what we're talking about right now, scares them because it doesn't offer certainty.
Yeah.
You know, because they can't put it in a geometry, they can't package it and box it and fully understand it and see it and control it. And I think that puts people in a state of angst, which is why the lot, as you say, for, you know, some other narrative, oh, God wants me to behave like this and he's going to make it all better, so therefore I don't need to be intellectually honest with myself. I can just delude myself until I die. Well, you know, whatever. You know, that's fine if you want to do that, but it's not going to change anything.
No,
you know?
Exactly, yeah.
It was that one, oh, sorry, I was just going to say it was like that one with when the Iraq War was on, there was actually groups of Christians, and there was a group, you know, of religious Christians for war, you know, and these Christians, they couldn't see the irony that they were, you know, what a Christian was, yet they were supporting that war in Iraq. It's just as if they don't see themselves or something. I don't know.
Aye. Yeah. We'll get somebody else joined. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, hi. How you doing, man?
How's it going, mate? It's yourself.
Good. Yeah. It was, hi, Gav.
Hey, it's dark where you are.
Yeah, hang on. Something. Just a second, man. Something not right.
Something in front.
Something not right with my camera. Just a second. I'm not sure how I can.
With a bit of sticky tape you've got over it.
No. Hang on.
That's the analog security device, analog anonymous device.
God's still going to see you wanking, Nick, so it's pointless.
I'm pushing your pudding.
I thought just, you know, you're having a good gripe, man. I thought it would be nice to join in, but obviously I've brought the conversation down to Abhora.
Were you listening, Nick? Do you know where we're at, what we're talking about?
Oh, you know, I just tuned in about 10 minutes ago and heard Ali and yourself having a good, you know, gripe about the usual, you know, the narrative, like you say, everyone's just been brought up with. And yeah, that's about all I've heard. I don't know what you've been talking about until then.
It's just pretty much, you know, for me, the realisation that whatever gave rise to everything, you know, the prime mover, the eternal, the infinite, God, whatever anybody wants to label it as, you know, and then people then having this experience of life and physicality and thinking that behaviours here or experience here somehow going to transcend this and either add or take something away from that infinite, eternal, you know, thing, the prime mover, which for me is ridiculous because then it denotes that it's finite.
No, I think that's the correct conclusion there, you know. I'm with you on that one.
It's difficult for people to accept it, but for me, again, it's like the push thing. How are you going to break it? If anybody can come and offer me any logical reasoning, you know, at any point that would, you know, suggest something else, then fine. I'm open to it. As I said before, all I have is a realisation and that's where I'm at. I can't tell anybody what it is. It's impossible. And I would never want to, because then, you know what, I'm looking at something finite and I'm back to square one again. So, you know.
There's no point in trying to push something like as big as an existential narrative and pretend you know what's happening. You know? I mean, I've got nothing against people coming with metaphysical, you know, explanations or discourses, right? But if they try and push it as being objectively true, then that's where we always have the issue with it.
Exactly.
And it's kind of similar to that problem, right? And if you look at the logic of all these narratives, then you can't escape what you just said, Dale, right? That it turns into a problem. You've either got the infinite regress where you need to, come to an assumption to begin with, or a first principle. You need to base it on something. That's the only way to avoid the infinite regress, right?
Yeah.
But how can you base something on that if you're only part of the effects and not part of the outside the machine?
Aye.
So yeah.
Even for talk's sake, as I said before, if we go outside this aspect, this area, we're back to that fundamental reality, which is eternal and infinite. So again, you're even in that realm or metaphysical realm, whatever anybody wants to imagine, what are you going to achieve? What are you going to change it in some way? Again, if you can, it's finite. So if you're invoking something finite, it has a beginning, it has an end point, or it's continually growing, but it must be growing into something. It must have had a start point, which means it's in an area, something that encompasses it, and you're just back to the infinite regress again.
Yep. Well, it's a logical problem.
Yep.
And I don't think it's been, honestly discussed. As you say, it always gets replaced by somebody saying, I know the truth, it's this,
Aye.
and they'll tell us their story.
Aye.
And then, as you say, somebody will come with some other, equivalent religion / science and preach it as to be true as well, rather than being honest and say, well, let's have a look at this logical problem. Tell me the solution to that first before we get away and listen to you. Shite.
Huh?
Do you know what I mean? So,
but it's like, again, it's back to that where it's not allowed. We're not allowed to come to that realisation of the truth and bask in it. We all need certainty. Oh, no, let's solidify everything and put a geometry in it, and if we can't do that, then fuck it, because I'm so needy and insecure.
Yep.
I think the solution myself would be just accept that we're never going to know. It's impossible to know, and start thinking, putting into practice, just accepting that.
I get back to playing again, like the children are showing us. They don't talk about this stuff. They don't care about all this contemplation and trying to rationalise and box everything and make everything certain. They don't give a fuck about any of that. It's us adults that have been fucking schismed by the bullshit that we've been subjected to that have ended up at these points.
Yeah.
Well, that's just where I'm at, so.
Well, yeah, that's it. And we're stuck in that, aren't we? You get to that realisation that like certain models.
Sorry, Nick, can't hear you, Nick.
Really?
Oh, you're better now.
Is that all right?
Can hear you now,
it's
mate.
all right now, right?
Oh yeah, I'm just trying to sort out my camera at the same time here, man. Sorry, give us. Yeah, I mean, these.
So
that's it.
So maybe if everybody had this realisation, what would be the psyche of man? What would we be like? What would we be expressing and behaving like? Maybe that happened before. Maybe decisions were made to infest the place with so many concepts and ideas and narratives to keep us perpetually chasing our tails. I don't know. Fuck knows.
I think we should come to the realisation that all we are is basically indoctrinated through the education system just to go out there and give these people our energy so that they can have extreme power over, and like what you said, and so that they can live their life. They're just utilising us. And when people sort of realise that maybe they should take a step back and think that, look a bit deeper into what the reality is. That life is, if you want to say, life is shit, but you've got to. I just try to be as optimistic as I can, manoeuvre my way through it.
Well,
I just care about my family and my friends, and if I can give them a bit of information that's going to make their path to their death, because everybody dies and end up, and make their life as enjoyable as possible. Well, that's it.
Well, that's it for me. I'm just a thrill seeker. I just want to have a good time. with fun, with no stress, no anxiety, no trauma, no worry, no fear. You
But if
know?
you look,
So if
you
we can
think,
identify all the avenues that produce that, then you can start to eradicate it by removing your attention for it, because that's the power we all have. You know, everybody's perpetuating these things by placing their attention and value and self-identity within the sigils, the concepts, the ideas, and they're living them out. You know, and then whining and moaning about it, waiting for some other cunt to come and fucking fix it.
and it's and that thing about is that if people actually looked, most of their problems are actually other people's problems. If you have a positive attitude and thing, you tend not to. You think, every time I make a mistake or whatever, I do. My positive. I told my daughter this, because she was getting a bit down. A lot of kids in Denmark, I don't know as if they're programmed to be like depressed or something, but I was a bit a moody thing, but it's a wee bit darker. The kids are a wee bit darker. They've got quite a high suicide rate for like 16 to 25-year-olds. Really high.
It's because the idea that the structures, it's not a one shoe fits all. So it's back to that problem again, Ali, for me. People are being born into a sigil, a concept, an idea, and they're being told that this is what's expected of them, and everybody's trying to mould themselves into it. It's no their true expression. They're not pursuing their own true self and their expression. They're constantly editing and moulding themselves to fit into some other, idea or concept, and that's going to have a detrimental effect. Because you're no happy, you're no enjoying yourself. Just like anything. If I go to a concert and the music's shit and the people or whatever, I just remove my attention because it's no fun. But being put in that situation and told, no, you need to be in that situation. Yet this is what's expected. Yet everybody else is doing it, and that's going to fucking constantly give me stress and anxiety to the point where you just want to end it.
Yeah, I always catch myself. I always catch myself when I'm getting stressed, like if I'm driving or if I'm driving through traffic. I always become aware and always kind of try and relax myself. It doesn't always work, but I think once because the mind's quite, it's like I always look at it this way. Being stress can make you ill, right? That's a scientific fact, right? But stress is like a thought, innit? It's like a thought. So you could say, right, okay, so actual thoughts can actually make you ill. So
Right.
think that all the other thoughts that you have that have a negative effect, and imagine now. Sorry.
No, sorry, mate. I just wanted to come because I think there's complexities and layers to the word stress. For me, there's enjoyable stress. If I'm endeavouring to learn a particular tune on the guitar and it's a bit difficult, you could look at that as a form of stress. But there's a resolve to that. There's a what's the word? A nutritional value to that stress, rather than some false imposed aspect of stress like. I have to go and do this fucking shitty dead-end fucking job because I need to pay for my heating and my fucking food, but that's a different form of stress. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's. I think it's just a matter of.
Are we still not making them ourselves though, Dale? The decision to stay in Glasgow or the decision to live somewhere else for it's warmer.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, people take stress a lot differently, right? What might be stressful to you is not stressful to others, right?
Yeah.
Because it is the way you look at the world or look at the, situation we're in.
But people with low self-esteem that are in a down place, they're not going to, realise their power. And that the intellectual awareness that it's an idea, it's a concept, nobody has the answers. They don't have that depth or that capacity in the position they may be in right now. So they feel all this isolation and angst and blah,
I think everybody
blah.
has the capacity just to pick up on that, but whether they've been trained to use it properly or whether they've been allowed to use it the way it should be used naturally, I think that's the problem we're in, right?
Yeah.
Or being informed, Gav, that instead of it being ridiculed, because they seem to put that kind of stuff, that esoteric, what you can do with your brain and all that kind of stuff, they label that and then they seem to convince enough people to think it's like hocus pocus, but but yet in their science, they'll tell you, you can. No, I'm not talking about telepathy, but the actual power of your mind, what you can do.
Oh,
absolutely. Like the placebo effect, that's been proven. The placebo effect, it's been proven. It works. Yeah. The idea works. So that's. And yet again,
more than that, Ali, I think it's the fact that you do get people who can do amazing things, right? And whatever, become healthy through certain aspects of the mind. There's ample proof of that too. I've had that in my own situation. So the dis-ease is when you're not at ease with yourself, right? And you're not comfortable with yourself. And as Dale says, you've been imposed into some schema that you don't really want to be a part of. Like a hammer and a nail. If all you've got is a hammer, then everything looks like a nail. So everybody gets squashed into these fucking boxes, right? Yep. And you don't want to be there. You've got no freedom of expression, and then you end up not at ease with yourself. Exactly. But at the end of the day, we've said this many a time too. Everybody's got the power to change it by removing their attention, by changing their situation. And I do agree that there's a lot of people who don't have that. How should I say? Foundation to be able to make a free choice. I mean, we say that easily, but if you're in a fucking absolutely poverty-stricken country, and you're eating mud, then you don't really have much choice at that moment to get away, or as you say, Dale.
That's the thing about circumstance that causes these schisms and causes certain behaviours in pursuit of trying to fulfil or achieve. Because your circumstance dictated that to you, and then it sends you on a spiral of chasing that. But again, even those people in those situations need to realise that they're creating that. It's like if talking about what Ali was saying about this manifesting, it's all this new age crap for me that fucks it all up. If I can see a clear goal in my mind and I know it aligns with my will and my wish to achieve it, and I can see it clearly and I pursue it and I can continue endeavour to get it, then it will manifest. Because
but there's a few things I don't think that applies to, Dale. So I mean, it depends on what context we're talking about. But if I'm in a place within this containment that has permanent fucking hurricanes or permanent sun, or you know what I mean, that where you're actually in a situation that being planted there, right? As we've discussed many a time, how the fuck did we all get in these places? But anyway, that's a different discussion. But if you're planted somewhere and you don't have the wherewithal to get out of it, then you really are a bit of a victim to the circumstance you're in, right? For all your mental fucking agility, you're still going to be eating mud tomorrow.
Exactly, but that's where proper education is important there,
Yeah, exactly.
But no education.
We can learn to adapt. Sorry, Dale. I just wanted to say it's. But human beings would learn to adapt. You know what I mean? There's Eskimos living in mines, blah, blah. There's guys traipsing about the desert with 500 degrees sun or whatever, man. You know what I mean? And they've adapted to it. So, and I think that's what we've got to realise. These situations, they might look harsh, but given the chance, we would survive because we're very inventive as human beings. We are. That stolen.
We're incredibly resilient machines, Ali. I'll give you that. Absolutely.
That's what I mean.
But
that's what I mean.
It's still an active choice to be there. I don't see that, right?
Because that's an Eskimo. An Eskimo or an Inuit, can be well aware that there's other options there for them. But what drives them? That again, the self-identity, culture, the concepts, the ideas, the identification, the need for certainty, which drives their attention to identify with that and pursue that as a life. But it's just an idea, but they think it has meaning,
That's exactly it. I mean, what makes them want to make little Eskimos, and everybody keeps coming back as a little Eskimo in a place where it's fucking cold all the time.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what I was saying at the start. If everybody thinks they're a globe gobbler, Dale, then that's all we're going to produce is a bunch of wee globe gobblers.
That's it.
Good point, actually. That was quite good.
Okay.
That was quite well, actually.
We chip in a bit there, man.
Go for it.
Yeah, no, I think yeah, it is a conundrum, isn't it? But there is, like you say, there is this collective responsibility. I mean, to do what we can for those people that are in an unfortunate situation, and obviously a lot of the time we do that. We hear about people that are suffering and we try and help out. But yeah, you're also right that we're also in this situation where our entire lives have been standardized this whole thing by the mathematicians and someone like Newton. That was what they did with the coinage and with the monetary system, the gold standard, and all that measurements. I mean, there's this all-out effort to standardize everything, including the human resources that we are. And so that individuality and is not almost not allowed. You've got this conformity that we're given. So
because those that cast the spell of the idea in the first place want to perpetuate it, and they're going to set about trying to maintain it.
Good point, Nick. And sorry, just on a slight side note, I don't know, there's been more and more kind of scientific news, right, where they're admitting to the fact that a lot of these guys were wrong. They're trying to be a wee bit humble, the scientists at the moment, right?
Yeah.
But what they don't want to give up is space,
Aye.
right? They still want to keep that one.
Aye.
It's quite funny to watch.
Did you see? Sorry, just on that note, did you see the one where they're trying to say, oh well, the galaxy's no planar anymore? It's like twisted at the edges and all this stuff. I was reading it on the teletext the other night. I'm going, fucking very good.
I saw a couple of videos on other connected things. There was one where basically mathematicians were agreeing to the fact that if you have this nonsense about so and so many chimpanzees, on typewriters can make Shakespeare, then mathematically for that to work in probability, you have to have a very long time, right? And they're admitting now that the however many billion years they say was the start of the Big Bang just wouldn't be enough, right, to make the basic building blocks, right? So you can see that kind of breaking down, and I think it seems to me to be controlled though. It's as we predicted, Dale. It's a kind of release, right?
Yeah.
But still trying to attach to something. So I don't know what they're at, but I'm seeing a lot of it. I mean, there was sorry, Ali, just to let me finish this one briefly, but. There was another one about the chemist, Dale. We talked about this, right? Where, the chemists are the guys that are saying, well, how the fuck do we make substance, right?
Aye.
We can't do that. And the biologists are coming along and saying, oh, well, if we've got the building blocks, we can explain how it all works, but forgetting that, well, how do you make the fucking building blocks?
Exactly.
Where's the substance come from?
Yeah.
So you can see them in biology and chemistry and mathematics and various spheres, kind of like, saying, well, Darwin can't be right, because the time taken for that evolving is mathematically not possible.
Yeah.
I even saw another one where we're talking about mathematics being totally infallible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's well known to mathematics that the Gödel's incompleteness theorem, which basically says that, you can't have logical consistency in a contained system. You have to make an assumption somewhere along the line.
But
and mathematics is intrinsically not correct within itself. It's not possible. You know what I mean?
But that's the problem with mathematics again as well. It's always trying to invoke finite, beginning, end, so that they've got a frame to work within, because they can't work with infinite and eternal. They can't box it and fucking put it in a geometry and put numbers to it and all that. They can't work with it. So they're always going to come up with this bullshit all the fucking time.
Yeah. And I mean, Gödel pointed it out to them mathematically,
Aye.
that it's not so, again, you're in good company with what you're saying, my man.
What can you say? Well, two things. One thing when you brought up, there was a engine come out. This guy's flying about in jet engines and stuff like that. And the thing was how we broke gravity. And the guy's made this up. It's new technology. He's basically got jet engines attached to his legs and to his arms. But he was called gravity. And I was just thinking, what's got to do with that? They seem I don't know, it's as if, they're paying attention to the memes or Facebook or whatever, where there might be a discussion about gravity. It's like they keep enforcing these, because it's got nothing at all to do with beating the actual gravity. But the other thing was, we've caught them, they've started changing it, right? And we've spotted them changing it. They're just bringing in a new theory, what Dale was talking about. They're calling it's called the bouncing theory, where we're actual bubble. They've got a mathematical theory that works. They've got a couple of things to iron out. But this is where they're moving, and this is what they're actually doing. That's why they're apologising and, oh well, maybe we don't know, but here, how about this?
Well,
That's what they've been doing through history.
Well, that's the whole
They've
point,
been caught,
Ali.
but we've caught them doing it.
But you're always going to catch them doing it, Ali, because that's the problem. You're not going to box the infinite, the eternal, the prime mover. They're never going to achieve that. So whatever they're coming up with in regards to existential fucking storybook stuffs, it's always going to be, flawed. Always.
Yeah, but I think, and if we push hard enough at this, right, that make a big fuss, people will start listening and say, wait a minute, what I'm meant to believe this? Because it only takes one thing, because most people don't actually know, ordinary people, not on YouTube, but most people actually don't know about how fast it spins and does this, and you could just name one strange thing that they're meant to believe and think, you're joking, that's not true, and then show them and go, wait a minute, and then they might start questioning it. But most people don't know the stuff that we know about what you're meant to believe if you think you're on the thing, and it's about pushing that, just giving that one person that one question about, that story, like what you do with the.
We broke up, Ali. We can't hear you.
No problems. I'll finish anyway. It doesn't matter. Let someone else, Mick. Oh.
Your mic, you were roboting there, mate. We couldn't hear what you were saying.
All right, I use my phone.
Yeah, all these things are all about interpretation, aren't they? Everything, every observation that's made, it's all about interpretation, and we've been told to interpret it in a particular way, and passed off as fact. But Gav, you made sorry. You were talking about the whole, well, what's the point? What's governing it all and all that. I mean, maybe, like you say, it's just the point of having the experience. But Gav mentioned something earlier about training the mind, or I think it was Ali or Gav, training the mind to be free of the stress. And it's funny because obviously that is something that's really prevalent here, where it's hot, and they know that in a hot country, if you're going to get stressed, like in a traffic jam, I mean, people will kill each other here. Yeah. When they in the heat, because they might fight over a tap or something, or road rage, and it'll end up, so there's this. But at the same time, from a young age, and the whole kind of culture teaches you about how to try to control your mind, because they know that if you let it go, and it's hot, I mean, you can end up just. People do. It's literally true. People kill each other in the heat of the moment. Yeah. And with the weather being hot, it just exacerbates it.
Circumstance again, isn't it?
That as well, Dylan. I think we operate within certain tolerances and boundaries, right? Yeah. I mean, you can't be overcooked, you die, right? Yeah. I mean, it's not a lot of degrees until you hit the outer limit. Exactly. Or having enough salt in your body. So we're definitely operating within limits.
It's a stress. It's a physicality stress rather than a mental stress. That induces the mental stress. But so as you say, there's parameters that we operate within. But again, it's circumstance. I keep harking back to that. Well, these bands, the tropics. There's for me, there's perfect scenarios. There's enough space for us to be within these bands where. We've got a nice temperature through the day, a nice temperature through the night. I mean, we could resolve it all. Just stop being fucking stupid.
Absolutely, yeah. If all these different people cooperated, you could. There's more than enough room. That's for sure.
Aye. Have the freedom and the option to be identifiable. I like that climate. I'm going to go and experience that for this amount of time, and then I'm, even in the climate, that you're in, Nick, it's that circumstance of traffic jams and the infrastructure that's been put in place and the lifestyles that people are leading that are all factors into it culminates in these points, But, so it's still,
sure. I mean,
it's still their attention. It's still what they're buying into, and then being in that scenario in that situation,
And as Nick said when he came on, who's making those standards? right?
Yeah.
You know, we're being standardized to think a certain way, act a certain way, go through the motions in a certain way that they want us to, and all the time with some narrative in our head that we don't really believe or understand, or any of those things. But we have to carry this baggage around with us, as you say, Dale. A kid doesn't.
Yeah.
I think we said, I can't remember what the day is or the year that when you start to realize you're mortal, and you have a deeper understanding. I think it's about 14 or 13, 14 it comes, right?
Oh,
But,
deeper understanding. So
but yet, does it have to?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Rather than just a river doesn't know it's a river until you start trying to put blocks in the road and dam it up. You know what I mean? It just wants to fucking flow.
Yeah, it becomes a trickle, right? A dam and a trickle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what's that in England I was hearing about the dam? You mentioned that right at the start.
Some
contained water that's not behaving.
There's panic about a dam that they were saying that the structurally it was compromised in some form or other. But I've seen somebody comment, I don't know if it burst or, it never, but, a lot of people were, shouting that it's health and safety gone crazy. I think there's people that are refusing the authority and what they're telling them and just going back to their homes and trying to live life as the way they were before. But I don't know what's going on. I don't know if anything's materialised or whether it is just a panic for nothing.
I'm not sure if people realise exactly how important dams are. I remember watching a beaver dam film. I thought that was interesting. People should Google that just to learn about how beavers, the water engineers apparently, right? They know exactly how to control it.
Exactly.
But where I wanted to go with the dams is, I'm not sure people realise the reliance we have on these things too, right? Not just for water, but also for electricity.
Yeah.
If you take, for example, the cloud, what they call the cloud in the computing world, right? I mean, it's basically 80 massive data centers built by Google, and generally they have to be right next to a hydro dam so that they've got enough water for cooling and electricity to run the fuckers, right?
Yeah.
So when we're talking like this, I always worry when you hear people telling stories about dams.
Yeah.
I always wonder what the fuck are they really at,
That's it. Aye. I don't know.
But anyway, that's maybe be too conspiratorial.
No, you never know, mate. You always got to question and have a healthy level of scepticism with anything that's going on, especially when you're not involved in it. That's the whole key to everything we've been speaking about. Unless I'm experiencing it, what I'm getting second-hand information and I'm painting pictures and stories and scenarios that are probably way off the mark. Now, what use is that to me? Or anybody?
No, the healthy skepticism is good, man. I think that what we see with the people that can't handle this subject are those people that refuse to be skeptical, probably because they instinctively know that it means letting go of a whole load of things and their whole world will come tumbling down. There was, what was it, the elections that they had recently, Trump, the amount of money that was poured into intelligence gathering through social media, and actually they focused on the people that they knew that they could persuade. They didn't bother with the people that were already fixed on us on one side or the other. It was those in-between people that they kind of poured like millions of dollars into influencing through social media with ads and there's these companies, I can't remember the name of the company, but data is the most valuable resource these days, and that information that they have on people's personalities and how they can be persuaded is worth more than anything else on the earth at the moment.
This is what all that sigil magic and these things are about. It's utilising, advertising these campaigns, advertising whatever to influence and sway and to gather feedback and predict trends and all this stuff. It's all just based on manipulation, of people's attentions, because the majority of people are not actively participating. They're just being influenced by all the stimulus that's coming at them. You know?
Yeah, but this is obviously already, this has come out in the mainstream media. There are documentaries about it. So for people to not even consider that they could possibly be influenced by these things
Yeah.
is just that is total ignorance.
Exactly.
You know, so
Well,
you absolutely be skeptical, man. Be
of
very
course.
skeptical.
Well, you see, I always bring the scenario up of like these TV performers or street performers like Darren Brown. I mean, there's like one guy showing you utilising the aspects of this and the power and what he can achieve with it. That's just one guy that's been shown to you in the TV as entertainment. You know, think of like the military application. You know, people that are real thinkers that want to get stuff done. How are they applying these things? And it's everywhere. It's fucking everywhere.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Those astrophysicists that give lectures and stuff like that, they actually get trained in the art of that public. Well, it's dressed up as how to get the public interested or involved. Like
Marketing.
sell an idea.
It's marketing.
They get taught all those techniques.
Marketing techniques, Ali.
Yep.
It's no hypnotism. Here's how you use hypnotism and NLP fuckers into getting stuff that we want them to have off our back, no theirs.
Well, when you start listening to these people, if you watch some of the lectures of the Royal Institute,
get them young.
The ones that are going, yep, exactly as well, and exactly, and these they literally talk the same, use same hands, make shapes. When they say a ball, they make the ball with the hands, all that kind of fun, fucking subliminal shit, not just NLP body language. Adding a joke in, they always add a little joke, and that's a technique for speech. Everybody knows that. You just
colours,
study
tonalities,
that.
the whole works. The stimulus that comes in can influence, So if you understand tonalities, certain rhythms, colourings, accompanied by certain rhythms, and there's loads of alchemy goes on and utilising different aspects to have different effect.
Yep. And they really, they get taught. The council over here, the council here, they actually go on courses taught that kind of. They get put on courses to become adversarial kind of thing, and to think, to think in a certain way in their jobs worths, as they say in English. Their actual jobs worths, man, and try to talk to them. It's like they blank, their eyes go blank when you actually discuss something that's not within the program, and it's true. You actually see
it's instilled in it. It's a hierarchical structure.
Yeah.
So you have to have the layers organised like that. So it's the same even in the police and stuff. They go away for so many weeks, and nowadays they're taught us via them type of mentality. And they're NLP'd into that state of mind. Whereas if you look at it, and even in my life experience, it was back even 30 years ago. It was more community orientated. It was respectful. It was a go-between. There was like a community officer within a whole scheme. And it was a large scheme. Look at the difference now. Because these sigils, this type of magic, whatever people want to label it as, hypnotism, it's all been utilised and learned and how to be applied to better use and mastered.
They're all experimenting in each other.
Aye.
Everybody, man. We're part of an experiment. If
it only works on you when you're unaware of it. That's how it works, and that that whole shit they talk.
That's exactly. Sorry, Dan.
No, you go. Mate.
I was just going to say it's again one of these base discernments that you need to make, right? Mm-hmm. All these NLP and rhetorical devices, and lesser magic, is I think you've grouped it.
Yeah.
All these things are different from if you take away all the language and ask for a practical demonstration, right?
Yeah.
That me and you can do something in common, right?
Yeah.
And have an agreement. And that's exactly where we need to watch, and being aware of it is exactly what needs to happen. So
that's it, and being aware of all the different complexities and layers to it. Getting back to the Darren Brown type scenario, he does one in particular. Through the act, And then he comes back on and he says, how many of you seen the guy in the gorilla suit? You know, because, you know, there's subtle influence. So there's got a whole audience, there's millions of people watching this TV. And a lot of people realised that a guy in a gorilla suit walked in amongst the people and went back out again.
An invisible gorilla.
Aye.
That was there.
Well, what was that?
Nick?
Did you hear that there?
Aye.
Yeah, that was Nick. That was coming through Nick. Thing.
Sounds as though it's a radio that can't get a signal.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking, I was trying to place what it reminded me of. But exactly right, yeah.
So when you're not expecting something or you're not aware of something, you're going to miss it.
Or a amplifier turned up full with the lead in but not plugged into the guitar, and you stick it in your fingers. So yeah, or something like that. Feedback.
That's better now.
That's it.
That's they're jamming the signals, guys.
Oh man, I do worse than that. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's information is getting taken. You know, even that they've got a new thing. All these new apps. You know, and people don't realise that the technology is built in. Every conversation is actually crammed into noughts and ones. It doesn't have to be a tape anymore. It's just numbers, noughts and ones. That's it. Our voices are noughts and ones, and they can easily store it. And they've got huge data banks. You know,
hey, Ali,
ever,
please turn up the volume. Hey, Ali, play my favourite song.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they'll be demanding things off you. There's a thing called Jibo. That's a scary thing. The last scene is the kids inside a tent inside the bedroom, and there's this mechanical thing that actually talks to you and leave my kid alone with one of them things. But it was just quite scary. This little robot that just interacts. You can, get an app. I'm coming home soon, and it talks like what you just talked there, like exactly that. Hello, Mark. How are you? It's got face recognition and everything.
Right.
Just to come back to the standardization, Nick. The question I also still have is, yes, we understand that the mind and the mindset you have influences the body and the perpetuation of certain things, but how much of it is out with our control, right? Really, as part of the part of the machine we come in, the physical suit, or whatever you want to call it, and it's kind of embedded in the firmware, as an analogy.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but that's what the challenge is. Maybe that's the whole point. We've got to be aware of that, and it's like you say, you got to train. And that's the tough thing, isn't it? It's kind of, that is the challenge to spot that, to notice when as soon as you're having a thought, you're getting a physical reaction. It manifests, So we create, from nothing. We create and manifest this physical thing.
That's what that's like. It goes back to that. For me, you're just a part of the experience, because then it's just a puzzle. If you look at it like that, and what's the point in you taking part in the puzzle? Nothing. It's just for the sake of playing the game and figuring out the puzzle, and then that doesn't mean anything. Other than just having the experience. You know what I mean? It's, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's say the active choice of learning to play the guitar, right? So if I hear something, it might take a long time until I can play something the way I want to play it, right?
Yeah.
But is that something then that how should I say, it's not you, that it's already part of that infinite and I'm just getting to do it? Or do we, as you said, Nick, are we actually creating as we go along? And since infinite is everything, then we have to keep continuing to create, because infinite means infinite time as well then,
everything.
Which is a very crazy concept anyway.
Aye, but that's what I'm saying. That's the problem. If it was a dilemma for me then, have I created a tune, or have I just realised the potentiality that always existed for that, that it was always there. All these paths and experiences are all there, and the only thing you can do is move
act
through them,
out.
and experience them. Do you know what I mean? It's
But
not
again,
that it's not that it's
also sounds
determined,
very deterministic, doesn't it?
but it's not that, but for me it's not determined where you're going to go.
I agree.
You know, so it's like you
play the banjo.
Aye, that's it.
No, it's the journey rather than destination, isn't it? Of course, we're always focused on the destination, and especially when it comes to space and that, it's all about this far off destination that's somewhere in the future for our grandkids or something, rather than the now, the just in the, like you say, the experience. So, and I suppose a lot of what you hear from those who have kind of really taken time to meditate is this. Yeah, it's just that is it. You just that moment, and there's nothing beyond that, because it's just the universe going through you, and you're appreciating everything else. You're appreciating the flower or whatever, or the flower's there to wait to be appreciated, and that's basically about it. There's no question. There's no demanding what the before and the after. It's just.
What do you think the time span should be, Nick? I mean, one of the questions, is it like 5 seconds into the future? If I think about playing a game of golf, then or riding a motorcycle, Dale. To get round the next corner, you already have to have that desire to be there, and then you're going to make the bike go through the motions, right? Or the golf swing go through the motions if you want a ball to get somewhere. Yeah. So, but should you be in the now? Should it be a kind of, I don't know, 5 second window? An hour? I'm just asking, because we do have a discernment of the past, right? And we know, through the sun cycles and the clock, as you've, pointed out many a good time, that's all kind of ingrained. So we understand that there is a past and the old and dying and all that shit. But I fully agree. The most enjoyable moments are the ones in the here and the now, I mean, again, I could pick sex as a good example for that, right? But it also applies to golf, and you can do it a lot longer. So, you know what I mean. There are lots of other things as well.
You can get it in 18 holes, man.
Yeah, exactly. No, but how long should living in the present be? What's the window? What's the optimal window, guys? Tell me.
One long continuous moment, isn't it?
You learn to do the two at the same time. It's like what you said, Gavin. You mentioned golf. A lot of times a guy taught me, imagine the shot, if you're tipping onto the green, imagine before you hit the ball, you're imagining that you're actually seeing the ball going exactly towards the hole and stuff like that. So
that's what you do when you get out of your bed every morning.
I would separate it and say, I would separate it and say your physical's always in the now, but the mind can be anywhere. Yeah.
But you can be at two places at once as well. You can be imagining that shot, knowing that you've not even played it yet. So, and that's the best. I think what you were talking about, Del. You can make your own reality. That's what it's all about. If you put your mind to something and you have an actual, and if I'll go metaphysical, because I do believe in karma, is that if you actually get a picture of that, exactly what you want, and you build that picture in your head, I think subliminally the mind, it doesn't suddenly come to you. I think subliminally your mind changes your behaviour in a way that the only outcome is that you'll get it, kind of thing. But that's like
even to think and have mental, how should I say, agility. Do you not need to experience something first? It's like being in this physical body, the prime mover, at least for the inside of our own heads, right? Because if you didn't have that first exploration, where would your thoughts go? Right, you can't just be in a vat and dream about everything if you have absolutely no experience, right?
Well, but the point is, right, and the whole point is when you're looking at the end goal, you've felt satisfaction before when you've achieved something, so you've got that emotional, so already, you can picture that, you can tie it with the emotional experience of being satisfied, and there you go. You've already primed yourself to gain that, because you've got that experience of being satisfied and achieving a goal.
Right.
You know what I mean? As you, so you're creating that, and then you've got the two, so you can actually do it, and it is weird how it actually works. You know, that the only, as I say, conclusion I came up with is that you start changing your behaviour subliminally, because I've had things come to me that I've done the tricks before, you know, projection, right? I need this. But a funny thing is, you only really end up with, through my experience anyway, is getting what you need. It's never more, but you do get something, you know, if you actually practice that. You know, that seems to be a strange thing, but I can only, because of my kind of scientific side of me, you know, I have to answer it, or you know, rationalize it, that you subliminally, your subconscious takes over, and it changes your, unbeknownst to your liminal, or whatever you call your awareness of your everyday life. You don't actually notice that you're doing these things, but you subtly, behind the scenes, you're actually doing something different. But and suddenly this thing comes up, you're unaware that you've been doing these things different, so you immediately attach it to, oh fucking hell, this works, and then you encourage it, you keep that cycle going, kind of thing, you know. Just I thought,
No, I think you're right. There's probably, there is a kind of, there sometimes seems to be a path laid out. That, you remember that Thai cave rescue where the kids and the coach got stuck in the cave in Thailand? It was big news, I think, for quite a while, yeah. And a couple of divers got sent over from the UK, and but you know, it turned out that, hang on. Sorry.
So,
Okay, my sound okay?
no.
Sorry, hang on a second.
although while you're doing that, the point I was trying to make was, no, the point was you can actually pave your own path. You know, it's not already out there, you can actually pave it. You know, you can't really probably affect what's going on in the world, but you can pave your own path rather than a path. I don't go with the theory that your path. There's certainly, if you do such in a certain order, you know, you get designed to go for the bus, blah blah, and you get knocked down. That was a coincidence.
There's certain things
choice.
that are tied in by certain, deterministic type, laws and qualities. I think it's just a matter of sifting through and separating the kind of metaphysical and where you have got the free will and the expression for what you're bound by physically.
Yeah, sorry. If I can just finish that little thing. But it turned out the divers, or one of the divers that came over to rescue the kids, was an anaesthetist, and he was the perfect person to be in that situation as a diver, an experienced diver, and an anaesthetist that could actually prescribe the correct amount of anesthesia to get these kids out of the cave. So, a subsequent interview with this guy, he felt that his whole life had built up to that point. All his training, his career, everything culminated in getting those kids out alive. It's like 12 kids, So to me, I look at that as one of those examples where there's something else going on that brought all these people together for something that was obviously a very traumatic but life-changing event for a lot of people.
Silence. And I see where you're going with that, Nick. I'm not quite sure I fully understood it, though.
Well, I mean, because we're talking about, is there a path laid out for us, or do we just go with the flow? So the point is that obviously all these things happened. The kids went into the cave. There was a flood. There was these guys in different parts of the world that were spending their life learning to do things, because you were talking about we've got to learn a skill before we can employ it, like playing golf and be in that moment. But it was everything that these guys learned culminated in that moment where obviously life was on the line. It was very, very precious. It was a very precarious situation, and it all came together. So for those people that were involved, it was a very profound thing that happened at a moment, but everyone involved in that situation had taken these steps in their life to be in that situation at that time. So whether it's just, I find that
So was it
you can at least look at it as there is something else going on there.
A higher purpose, is that what you're alluding to?
Or
Yeah, I mean,
something, whether it is, it didn't just happen. It was, the fact that the guy was one of the divers, he had those two skill sets, and he was the only person in the world that could have done what needed to be done.
But it was through his choices,
So
he made his free will to study that and do that and decide to be part of that kind of thing. So, but saying that, but if that's what his life's over then, isn't it, really, philosophically speaking?
Yeah,
if that's
that's it, it's done.
But I mean, that's the problem. Okay, every step of the way, every path, he would come to how you come to choices where change your life. If you can look back, you can probably find probably about 5 or 6 times that you thought, oh, that's when I headed in this direction, and you can draw that path to where they are now. But he's made every road. He made the choices himself. No, there was no.
Because all the people involved are buying into an idea as well. A sigil, a rescue team or whatever it may be, and they all learn certain traits for any particular scenario. And then when a scenario happens, they apply the skills to it. But I think what you're saying, Nick, is that all that would be predetermined to all lead up to this specific one event, rather than it being, well, no, as a society or a group, they've got this aspect where they've created a network of rescue or, ambulance service or whatever, and all the people involved that buy into that think it's a good idea, that they want to be part of, learn their skills, and then any given scenarios happen where they apply it. So it's all still like free will. It's not a predetermined, there is parameters again with the physical, but there's the potential to have any experience just depending on where you're putting your attention, rather than being some divine, deterministic path that was laid out before people that they were always going to take. Does that make sense?
Totally, it does make sense. Yeah, but I think Ali's point as well is kind of poignant, because you're talking about these points in your life where you probably know that you could have gone something significant, where you could have made a significant choice, and that might have taken you in a different direction. So I wouldn't say that it means that everyone's life is predetermined.
No.
I'd say that you do. There are obviously anything can happen, but it seems that you could maybe make those choices along the way, and that will result in something else. And Ali talked about karma, which that is obviously a big thing. It's like, are we here to suffer in some ways because of something we've done before or whatever? It's of course it's a question you can't answer.
But that breeds a psychology of victimhood for me, Nick, that you're subservient to some higher authority or a hierarchy. That's the kind of structure of psychology that it takes you in. So do you know what I mean? And that
I do. But you still have the choice. You might have that. That you might, like you say, we're talking about being born into a certain situation, but there is still an element of choice as to get out, learn from it, and get out of it. Mm-hmm. Or do something about it. We're going to find ourselves in dangerous situations, I think so it's a bit of a mixed bag. I'm not trying to. I totally agree with both of you. I think it's you kind of got that element of free will, and maybe certain things, choices or paths that you can take. and we might be in a certain situation in order to take that path or have those choices. But yeah, I
think that's
Sorry,
that's,
Nick.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, there.
No, you're
I was just going to have a little break from the articulation of mental action. Just go back to the anaesthetist, Nick. I've got a friend of the family who's an anaesthetist, you know, and they generally, obviously, they know a lot about the effects of gases, right? And keeping the machine, the physical body that we have in different maintenance modes, right? You know, unable to feel pain, you know, still keeping all your respiratory functions. And but he admits himself, they don't really have a fucking clue how it works. They just know the effects that they have on man when they're lying on the operating table, you know? So again, you know, I would point people down to the objective facts of what we really do know, right? Within the confines of being part of it.
That's
so,
it. That's it. They can only observe the effect. You can just mess with stuff to refine a kind of avenue to operate, a band to operate within, that you know certain things and scenarios are going to come about, you know. But
and only within those limitations can we perform this mental action of what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
So it's an amazingly delicate balance, isn't it? When you think about it. And you know, I mean, it kicks off. I mean, obviously, you need a physical body to have a mental life, right? And you need a mind to have, you know, a physical, how should I say, experience, right? So, and it seems to follow us for the rest of our life until we snuff it.
Well, yeah, you were talking about it last week, I think, Dale, weren't you? This kind of the old idea of nature and being a kind of machine-like, and these biological machines. I mean, there's obviously, but then you've got that element of some kind of soul, I suppose. Like you say, we don't know what happens to. Yeah, you can numb the body, but
the analogy of the you know, virtual reality that we have now, for me, just, you know, as a kind of way of looking at it, you know, you put that on and you're entering into a world and it's bound by certain parameters, but you still have that free will and the ability to put your attention and move wherever you want. You know, you can't see everybody else in there that's connected by a headset and yada yada, you know, but you're only in there moving within set parameters with a free will to go and explore and pursue any avenue you like. Yeah.
That ties exactly into why they put us on a mental ball, right? That we can't get off. You know, that goes a long way to, you know, well, you might as well just give up. We know the parameters are finite. We can't do it.
Aye. Rather than
I'd love to know if that was true.
Aye. You know, rather than your wandering eternity, you know, for fucking ever.
That's hell. Yeah, that's hell. Oh man. Yeah.
Guys, it's been a great chat, but I'm gonna have to go.
I'm the same.
Thanks, Dale. Thanks, everybody. Bye, Nick. Bye, Ali.
Yeah.
Bye, Gav. Nice one.
Bye, Gav.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, I'm about finished as well. That was a good wee convo. That was good.
Nice one, Ali. Cheers. You too, Nick.
Nice one. Thanks for having us on. Nick, you take it easy, buddy.
And you, man. Yeah, good to catch up with you, man. Good to hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to get on a panel with you. You always have good stuff to talk about. Nice one.
Yeah. Sweet.
All right, take it easy. Good night, guys.
Cheers, man.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah, is that my cue to
I'm going to hit the heel as well, Nick. Aye. All right, mate.
All right. Nice one. Okay. All right. Well, thanks a lot. It was good, and speak again soon. Yeah.
Cheers, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
See you soon, mate.
Take care, man.
Take care, bud.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. I'll skip ups. Take it easy. I'll catch you very soon. Mods, cheers.